The Jason Gregor Show.
Was driven in by Davis Schneider as now Barger sends it to center. It's deep, and it's gone. First pitch swinging to the very deepest part of the ballpark here.
On Sports 1440.
There's a 3-on-1 for Edmonton. Ekholm scores! It went right through Sergei Bobrovsky.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
In the air to deep center. Mullins back. The wall. Jumps and it's gone. Guerrero has hit it out to center field.
Well, a tantalizing Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday. It is warm out, plus 25 in the capital of Alberta here in Edmonton. It's also Tuesday, which means $40 million up for grabs in Lotto Max. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Good luck. Are you kidding me? What a change that would be. Just remember the deal. You win, we get invited to the party. Because trust me, you win $40 million, you better be having a pretty big bash. There's zero reason to be frugal at that point. Like you could have probably the greatest party ever. Blow $500,000, wouldn't even make a dent. Make it back in interest in the next 6 months, probably. Maybe even less than that. I'd have to do the math on it. 5% of 40. Yeah, probably. So it would be pretty good. Pretty good. On the show today, we have lots of talk. Ooh, Jay's got spanked again. I think what we're seeing is exactly what I've been saying for a while. The need for the Blue Jays, they need two relievers, and ideally maybe even a starting pitcher. So that to me is the ideal one. I know people talk about a bat. That might be a bonus. But the Jays, you know what? You just need a little bit of help in their bullpen. No question about it. Lots of other teams do as well. But that's what the Jays could use is they got spanked again this morning, our time. End up losing 16-4. So that's not a great, like when the Jays lose big, they lose real big. Say that. Like they've lost 12-0 this year, 11-0, 10-1, 16-4. So they've had a few. When things go sideways, they really go sideways. And now they got the doubleheader tonight. It's going at 4:30 our time. Well, 4:35 exactly in Baltimore. And man, I don't know what it is, but when they play in Baltimore, they get spanked. It's not a good place for them. But they're hoping that Barrios and Gosman, who will be going the next two starts, can get rocking and rolling. We'll see how it goes. Oh no, Gosman's not even. Barrios isn't even going tonight. So no, it is. It's going to be. We'll see right now. They're just trying to get through it. Obviously, they're not going those guys on short days due to the doubleheader and them having no days off in between games. But so talk some baseball. We'll talk some trades. Matt Snyder will join us in the first hour. We got McCarthy, Struuuuuuds, Mark Spector. Also, Andy Vasquez will be by as we continue our NFL preview. But in the first hour, because Oiler fans, hey, it's July. You still got to start thinking about next season. And when you look at some of the Oiler contracts, we've talked about a Connor McDavid contract extension. I've said it all along. I have no fear. I said it last summer that Connor McDavid was going to sign an extension in Edmonton. I still firmly believe that. Said that nothing was really going to happen until after Leon Draisaitl's wedding. Well, now that's in the rearview mirror. And they can have some contract talks moving forward. But he's not the only pending UFA at the end of next season. There's McDavid. There's Adam Henrique. Kasperi Kapanen, Curtis Lazar, because those guys signed one-year deals. Then you got Ekholm and Wallman and Kulak and Stetcher on the back end, and both your goalies in Stewart, Skinner, and Calvin Pickard. And so today, we're going to look at, so the Oilers, if you add up their salaries for next year, currently they'd have about 11 players at $57 million, which I know you're like, oh, geez, that's a lot. But let's say McDavid gets $16 million. Well, now you're up to 73. And let's say Ekholm and Wallman combined for 11, just for argument's sake. Well, now you're up to 84. And then what do you got to sign? You'd have to sign, somebody or Henrique. Like, you got the cap is going to be $104 million next year. It's gone up so quickly that the concern about Bouchard, Draisaitl, everybody and what they're making, it's being alleviated rather quickly. So we are going to talk, what are realistic projections for contracts? And we're going to get Kyle Stitch from the Max Term podcast and AFP Analytics. And what they do is they focus on, they crunch all the numbers and come up with projections for contracts. So you look now, are the Oilers going to sign all of them? Maybe. McDavid's obvious one. I think they really like to sign Wallman. Fully expect them to sign a guy like Matthias Ekholm. Now the term, what are we getting, 2? 3-year max, I would think. What about Vasily Podkolzin, who's an RFA at the end of the summer? He's only making $1 million right now. You like a lot about his game. And the thing about Podkolzin is he's a player, I think, that what his salary is going to be based upon for the most part is kind of what he's done. Well, he hasn't done a huge amount offensively. I think there's potential for him to grow. He did have 14 goals as a rookie. Could Podkolzin be an 18-goal scorer down the road? He knows how to play with Draisaitl. Draisaitl loves playing with him. He's good at puck retrievals. He'll go to the net. And it's just a matter now of, working on some skills, developing some offense. And that's where Connor Allen comes in. That's his job. He's the new skills coach. They're going to have skill practices. So would this time be the time to sign Podkolzin? Maybe you could get him at what? 2.3? I don't even know the number. 2.4? And could that turn out to be a bargain? So we'll see. Are my numbers too low? Are they too high? We'll find out from Kyle coming up here in about 12 minutes time. So we'll talk about those guys. We look at, Brett Cool. Adam Henrique. I don't think Henrique would re-sign here. I could be wrong. But you can't just keep everybody all the time. So, I could see a guy like that moving on potentially. So, and then what about the goaltenders? That's a whole different story. I don't expect Stuart Skinner to sign a contract extension this summer. And that's from both sides. I think both sides need to see a little bit more. Because if you're Stu Skinner, you're sitting there and saying, hey, yeah, some people, like, what did you hear in the intro, the Ekholm goal? Like, people talk about, I didn't like Stuart Skinner's goal in game 6, and it's 2-0. Okay. Well, what about the goals that Bobrovsky allowed to Podkolzin and Ekholm that allowed the Oilers to come back in the game and win? Right? How's that? So, in games 5 and 6, the Oilers created 8 high-danger chances. They gave up 23. For all the people who just want to blame the goalie, I think you're missing some things here. So, either way, Stu Skinner is in a situation where the new goalie coach will got to get to know him better, find out, hey, is this something we can work with here? Does this fit into his philosophy? You don't know that yet, right? You really don't know how a guy ticks. We know certain things about Skinner. He's got a narrow stance. He'll always have a narrow stance. That's not going to change. All right. Can you work around that or not? So I don't expect he's a guy that would sign before the start of the season. I think the other guys, there's a decent shot. But even Stu Skinner, I've said it, there's 22 goalies in the NHL who are active, not including Carey Price, who make $5+ million a year. Stuart Skinner has a lot more playoff experience than a lot of those guys. Has he had some up and downs in his playoff experience? You betcha. So have a lot of other goalies. But he's young. He's only 26. That's pretty young for a goalie. So there's still lots of room to grow, I think, in Stuart Skinner's game. And I think he's actually growing. I think Stuart Skinner is better than what the average fan thinks. He's not an elite goalie, but he's also not the dread of NHL goalies that some people suggest he is. No one complained about him against Vegas and Dallas. So you can't tell me he's not capable of some good stuff. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox. Any questions you have for Kyle? If you're looking at a contract projection, let us know. We'll find out, like, what did they project? Because a lot of people were upset about Trent Frederick. So we'll ask about that one too. What did they have as a projection for Frederick, and where did they come in? Kasperi Kapanen, 1.3, probably right in line. So we'll talk about those ones as well with Kyle. Also, on the hockey front, you see Canada. They got the World Juniors camp going on, and it'll be curious to see how many of those guys do they go with the skill, because I still think at times Hockey Canada is guilty of being risk averse. I still think that's a significant hindrance at times in how Hockey Canada views a lot of their selections, and it's who you know, and this guy here, yada, yada, yada. So, we'll see. A lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, if goalies aren't the most important position, explain Hellebuck and the noise around him. From Montana to Rice. Well, here's an easy explanation for you, Montana to Rice. Do you know which goalie had the most goalie-friendly environment in the regular season last year? You know who it is? Connor Halley. So, do you think the environment that a goalie plays in impacts his play? Yeah. It totally does. Now, do you think Bobrovsky was the most important player on Florida? They had 8 guys with 18 points. 8 of them. In games 5 and 6, Edmonton had a grand total of 8 high-danger chances against Bobrovsky in 2 games. You think he's the reason they won? No. Some games, it might be your goalie. Other games, it's going to be your overall team defense. Other games, it might be your power play. Other games, it might be your number 1 center going off. I don't believe there is the most important position in hockey. When the goalie can only impact one end of the ice. Can't impact the other end. It's impossible. He just can't. Your best defenseman, your best forwards can impact both ends. They can't. So now, a goalie, if you're getting shelled, can he make a big impact on an individual game? Great. But if your team plays great, you're shell shocking him, you've scored 5 goals, you've given up 18 shots, your goalie's he's irrelevant at that point. Hasn't done anything. He's had to make it's like saying, hey, look at our winger. He completed 5 passes when no one was around him. Well, yeah. So your goalie stopped all the mid-range shots. Well, he should be able to do that. Right? Look at Stuart Skinner. He had the best goal saved above expected on all low and mid-tier shots in the NHL playoffs. Right? They got all the way to the Cup final. Do I think Stuart Skinner was the main reason they got to the Cup final? Nope. But he was part of it. You have 3 shutouts against Vegas and Dallas. You're doing something right. No question. Now, some of those shutouts maybe were easier than others, but that's just, to me, how it works. I don't believe the NHL has an obvious, clear, most important position. I think it gets repeated lots, and people will use individual examples. But even when they use Bobrovsky, no one, when people want to point out, yeah, but look at the goal Stuart Skinner allowed. You never want to say, yeah, well, what about the Ekholm goal that Bobrovsky allowed to allow the Oilers come back? They were down 3-0. Let in a complete dud who came back and won the game. Edmonton. No one ever talks about that, because in game 5 and 6, the Panthers team, capital T-E-A-M, was much better than Edmonton's team. They generated almost 3 times as many quality chances. And most people will tell you that they think Bobrovsky's a better goalie than Skinner. I would agree. So now you have the weaker goalie, and you're giving up 3 times as many high-danger chances. What do you think your chances of winning are? But you want to blame the goalie? You're like, well, I can't believe Skinner didn't stop all those chances. I don't buy it. So that's where I come out on why I don't think goalies are the most important. Some games they might be. Not every game. They're just not. Hey, Gregor, players should get what they're worth in the market 100%, but that doesn't mean signing that player to a contract will be good for your team. Last 2 players, Skinner has been pulled. The last 2 playoffs, Skinner's been pulled multiple times. Lucky Pickard has come through big time for Mitchell. Yeah, hey, Stu Skinner had 2 bad games against Vancouver, and then Pickard went 1-1 in those 2 games. In the other 21 playoff games and the 50 previous regular season games, Stuart Skinner was really good. Right? But I understand people get frustrated and they want to focus on the worst stuff, and they value it 10 times more than the good stuff. And you just can't do that. So I don't see. Hey, Gregor, Bobrovsky was the most important player in the Panthers Cup win. Without him, they would have been down 3-0. Sean, I don't know if I agree with that. Game 2, the Oilers were junk. Game 1, Bobrovsky was good, yes. But in the Stanley Cup final, Skinner had a lower goals against average and a better save percentage overall in 7 games. 909 for Skinner, 899 Bobrovsky. Did you know that in the playoffs that year for Florida, in every series, Bobrovsky had a lower save percentage than the opposing goal? So now I know save percentage is just one stat, and Bob could make some big saves, no question. But Florida was a damn good team, right? Damn good team. And, like I look at game 7. How many quality chances did Edmonton create in that 2-1 game? They were down 2-1. How many great chances did they have in the third period? Not many. Because Florida, they played really good team defense. Edmonton wasn't able to generate a lot. So I don't, Bobrovsky's numbers weren't off the charts. They were good. He could make some big saves. And I think people remember the big save more. And I understand it. Makes sense. But overall, the numbers weren't, if you go overall, because if you make a big save and let in a few duds, what does that matter? Right? Quick break. When we come back, we'll find out the value projections for the Oilers and some of the contracts, some that were just signed. Were they good, fair, overpriced, underpriced, and looking ahead to a few of the guys on the Oilers who can sign extensions, are in the final, heading into the final year of their deal. And those players include McDavid, Adam Henrique, Kapanen, Podkolzin, Lazar, Ekholm, Wallman, Kulak, Stetcher, Skinner, and Pickard. Not quite a few. So we'll get to that. I guess David Tomasek too, but he's can't really compare him because he's a one-year guy, has nothing to base it on. So we'll see. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC Terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk. Some jobs are easy and some jobs are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, you just might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
Are you an elite athlete or weekend warrior and you just want to enjoy playing the sport you love with less or even no pain? Have you tried every exercise and stretch imaginable, hoping the next one might do the trick? Well, you tried analog. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe healing can move along better and sometimes even faster with evidence-based technology techniques and the people who know how and when to apply it. StimPod, zero-gravity treadmills, radial shockwave, and so much more at your fingertips when you click to find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Mr. Rooter rides in a hot air balloon.
Oh, wow. You can really see it all from up here. The river crossing the city like a water line, the Walterdale like PVC pipes, and the cars circling the Anthony Henday like waste swirling a toilet bowl. Which reminds me, which way to the bathroom?
There's no toilet in a hot air balloon.
Well, I will have to remedy that.
For a plumber who soars above the others, trust Mr. Rooter.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado,
There's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Come experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball Friday, August 1st. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Our average used RV sells for around 30 grand. Some are more, some are less. And literally no one has 30 G's just sitting in their checking account.
Monthly payments are the best way to get the used RV that's right for your family.
That's right, Bob. Financing should be a stress-free process. But let me tell you a little secret. My granddaughters think I'm a model citizen when I was young once. And if you look back into my credit history, you can see that it wasn't always excellent.
Perfect credit is nice, but not easily achievable.
You said it, Bob. But less than perfect credit is not a good reason to keep you from the great outdoors this season. I built our financing plans for the real world. And in the real world, nobody has a perfect credit score. So let's talk about how easy it is to make your favorite used RV affordable. As long as you promise not to tell Saxon and Goldie that I'm not perfect.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocks.yeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. What a lovely summer day. Man, it is going to be hot here the final few days of July. On Thursday, what are we talking? 29 degrees? Woo. All right. Tarps off. Nice out. Enjoy it. It's great. Love the summer late nights. So many of you would be golfing till 10 at night, just loving it in your shorts. Not many mosquitoes out. Been a pretty good summer in that regard. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And for a hot Tuesday, how about $40 million up for grabs tonight? PlayAlberta.ca. Get your tickets for Lotto Max. As we're going to get to the oil report now, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, where you can lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49%, and you can save $7,500. Great vehicles, better service. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And the off-season, you know what? July, not a bunch. Well, you know what? It was probably maybe more active than people thought. Some trades for the Edmonton Oilers, bringing in Ike Howard. They signed some players. And now, heading into August, there's no arbitration cases. Oiler fans don't have to worry about any offer sheets or anything like that, like last year. But contract extensions are something. Said it for a long time. I fully believe Connor McDavid's going to sign a contract extension, just a matter of term. I think his number's coming around 16 mil. Now, maybe it'll be higher. We'll find out. So that's why we're going to bring in our next guest from Max Term Podcast and AFP Analytics, where they do a lot of contract projections. Kyle Stitch joins us. Kyle, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So I guess first I want to talk about the Trent Frederick contract. When you guys had crunched your numbers, Frederick comes in and, like the terms are always hard to project. Some guys are 6, 8, 4, all depends. But his AAV, how close was that to what you guys had projected for a Trent Frederick?
Going back, I'm pretty sure that was about where we had expected him to come in, but nowhere near that term. And that's I think where we were kind of looking at that contract and being like, it makes sense if you're the Oilers, because cap space is definitely going to be a premium to do all you can to keep that low. But if you're getting into mid 30s with the style of game that Trent Frederick plays, I'd very much be concerned how that looks in however many years. I think the good news is on a lower AAV, you have a rising cap, and down the road, that's probably going to be the going rate for a decent, even like fourth line, bottom six type player. So it probably will age okay, but I just worry with injury history already and how long that contract takes them, that might be a concern later down the road.
Yeah, I guess the only other benefit for them is, let's say after 5 years, it's not going great. You buy out the last 3 years, his cap hit on a buyout is like less than $900K, right? So by then in 5 years, heck, the cap could be 125 mil. So if you got dead cap space of $900K, it's definitely something you can get by on, considering what some teams have done with dead cap space. So yeah, I think term, it's fair to say term is definitely probably more of the surprise in the actual AAV. So now let's get to some guys who have the potential to sign contract extensions now. We'll start at the top. Connor McDavid. I'm sure this is one for your site. You're like, hey, we got to get this one right. Let's look at it. And Rich Winters, an agent, says the higher contracts sometimes are easier. You kind of know what it is. What do you guys have for a McDavid extension?
So I think we're pretty much in agreement with what you're thinking, about 16 million. So that we kind of base our projections off of percentages of cap, and 16 million is right in the ballpark of his previous percent of cap. So to be exact, like probably like 16.4 is where we're projecting 15.72% of the new, or the projected $104 million cap.
Okay.
So that seems to be, I mean, that makes sense. It's Connor McDavid, though. If he wanted more money, he can certainly ask for more money. If he wants to take less money, he can certainly ask for less money. But coming in at the same percentage of cap, I think makes sense. Term-wise, this is where we're very intrigued with kind of what happens. I think this offseason we kept hearing, oh, players are going to go shorter, players are going to go shorter, players are going to go shorter. And I can't point to any bigger kind of name contract that ended up going shorter, but we're projecting McDavid to maybe sign similar to Austin Matthews, 4-year contract, and give him another shot at a big payday. I also kind of wonder if maybe he does 3 to line up with Evan Bouchard, and then they would expire at the same time, and there could be some interesting wiggle room in the Oilers cap situation. So around 16 million seems to make sense from an average annual value standpoint. 3-4 years would make sense to kind of push the envelope a little bit for himself and future players, but we'll see what happens. It also wouldn't shock me if he just says, hey, I'm committed to Edmonton, 8 years, let's go.
Well, if he does 8 years, Oilers fans will do cartwheels on it because, by probably year, well, some would argue there'd be a good value right off the top. But when the cap goes up all of a sudden to 113, well, now his percentage of cap drops significantly. And then it's up to 118. Like, even if it only goes up 4 or 5 million, like, I don't know if it's going to jump as much as it has from 95 to 104 to then 113 every year. Like, that'd be crazy. That means it's up to 122, which would be, because it is unique in that regard, because lots of the top stars are signed, Kyle, right? Like, we just saw Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner really didn't get much of, like, his percentage of cap is actually way lower than what he signed when he was in Toronto. Right now, I would argue got overpaid on that contract. And while he did finally score 100 points in the final year of that deal, he's a non-goal scorer. And I'm one who values goals. If I'm going to pay guys big money, I'd like them to be a goal scorer, or at least have the potential to it. And he's never really done that. So it wasn't a shock to me that he went up, but, Draisaitl's at 14, and, McDavid goes after McDavid. Like, I guess Austin Matthews would be the next big star who would be up for a contract in any of the near future, right? It's more so going to be kind of trying to predict the middle tier guys to see how many of them, and that's where some teams might overspend.
It'll be interesting where like a Jack Eichel and Kirill Kaprizov end up as well. They're also extension eligible this summer. Kyle Connor as well. So like he's more of a goal scorer. I wouldn't put him at necessarily the same like all round tier as those other guys, but there's some interesting contracts that are about to come down. Eichel, McDavid, and Kaprizov are the three that I think we're keeping the closest eye on, kind of order of signing and how each of those three players approach it. Does one go short? Do a couple go short? Do they all go short? Do they all go long? Kind of how do they stack up against each other? So I think there might be a little bit of a waiting game between probably Eichel and Kaprizov, because McDavid gets done whatever he wants to get done. But McDavid might want to wait those two guys out to see where they go and make sure that he does end up coming in high enough over them.
Okay. Kyle Stitch joins us. We are talking contract projections from the Max Term podcast and AFP Analytics. Here's an interesting one, Kyle, and I'm curious what number you're going to throw at us when it comes to a veteran like Matthias Ekholm, 35 years of age. And you know what? There's some wear and tear on his body for sure. Really smart player. Now he's coming off an okay season where he's battling injuries lots. So what's your projection for term and AAV for Ekholm?
So coming into the offseason, we had an extension, 2 years, 6.5 AAV. And I don't see anything that's necessarily happened this offseason to change my mind. The defensive market was odd, to say the least, with the kind of order of where Ivan Provorov, Vladislav Gavrikov, and Aaron Ekblad all kind of came in. So I don't think there's any data this offseason that's going to say, oh, that's definitely wrong. I think very different player, but I think a little bit of a comparison can be made for Dmitry Orlov for Ekholm's next contract. He came in right at $6.5 million with San Jose. So I would assume that would be kind of the floor for Ekholm. Again, not a perfect comparison, but probably the closest that we can point to this immediate offseason as to where an Ekholm contract might end up. Definitely shorter term, could see 6.5, could maybe see a little bit more, could also see a little bit less if he wants to stay in Edmonton to make sure that he has a chance at a cup if they can get there.
So a short-term deal at basically the same AAV as what he has right now, because I know he's $6 million on Edmonton, but Nashville's paying $250K. So he's currently 6.25 right now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, he hasn't gotten better. He hasn't really gotten, age is a little bit, but you kind of factor in the age with the rising cap. And I think those two cancel each other out. Makes sense to kind of keep him at a very similar level.
What about Jake Wallman?
That one is a fun one, because great playoffs, obviously kind of outcast from Detroit there. We had him coming into the offseason, 5 years, 6.5 million. So similar AV to Matthias Ekholm. Longer term, obviously, because he's going to be 30. So that would take him to about 35. That kind of falls in between. I think this offseason, probably best comp would be Neil Pionk, who came in at $7 million. I would probably prefer Neil Pionk a little bit over Wallman. So coming in a little bit behind him would make a lot of sense, but it's going to be, again, this offseason did not help provide any clarity for where these kind of borderline top 4, top 2 type defensemen are gonna fall. I think right now the 6.5 makes sense. I think if Edmonton could get that kind of contract done this offseason, that'd be a smart move, because if he has another good season, I think he starts to push $7 million average annual value.
Interesting. 6.5 for good money for Jake Wallman. So where does that leave a guy who's a little bit older in Brett Kulak? And I'm not saying he would sign in Edmonton. I don't think they can sign all their guys. I don't think they're just going to keep all their defense core together forever. But what would a Kulak extension look like?
So we had projected coming into the offseason 3 years, 3.9 million average annual value. And this one lines up very well with what basically occurred this offseason as well. So it would make sense that it kind of comes in similar. Look at the contract that Brian Dumoulin signed with the LA Kings, Ryan Lindgren a little bit with Seattle. Not perfect comparisons, but that's kind of the level of defenseman we're talking about with Kulak, and they came in right in that same range. So I'm thinking about 3.9 million makes sense. Can round it up to 4 if we want to talk even numbers, but I think that makes a lot of sense for a steady kind of clear bottom 4 kind of player.
Okay. Vasily Podkolzin is a player who, his minutes played, the coach trusts him, played in the top 6 a lot, didn't have big top 6 production. by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously Draisaitl likes him. And I always wonder, I don't know how you can put something like that into your calculations or not. And I'm not saying he's a top 6 forward at all long term, because, you know, in the playoffs, he didn't play there a ton. He can kind of go up and down. He can kill some penalties for you. He's a really good forechecker. He's an RFA, so he's not a UFA. So I want to clarify that. What do you guys have projection for the next Podkolzin contract? And if you were him, would you wait for another year or would you sign now?
So we projected coming into the offseason 2 years, 2.4 million average annual value. I personally, if I'm advising him and his agent, I'm saying let's pump the brakes. Let's not rush into anything, because if he ends up playing again with a McDavid or a Draisaitl, like any sort of minutes with those type of guys, he's going to get more points. And important to also note, he's arbitration eligible, and what drives arbitration awards are points. Scoring helps a lot. And if he can luck into some assists just on some amazing plays from Leon Draisaitl, I think we see that average annual value pop up a little bit. If I'm a Oiler fan, I'm looking at what Nick Robertson gets with the Leafs. That contract's about to be, the arbitration hearings coming up in a couple days at this point. That one would be kind of, I think Podkolzin comes a little bit above that, but that's kind of where you're starting to look and see where the next contract could lie. I also look at Maxim Siplikov, who just re-upped with the Islanders as well, as an interesting comparison for Podkolzin. Siplikov more points, but similar type of impacts around. Podkolzin did have heavy minutes and did have great success in the playoffs. So those guys will, Siplikov right around 2 million. We'll see where Nick Robertson ends up. Another player I kind of think comes up in that conversation a little is Jack Quinn's extension in Buffalo as well. I think that maybe sets a ceiling for where Podkolzin ends up. 2 years, in the $3.3 million range. That might be kind of your range for Podkolzin right now. And if he has a similar type season, obviously if the goals and assists kind of come and there's some more box score stats that his representation can point to next summer, that contract could certainly start to get into uncomfortable territory for the Oilers.
So ultimately, you have Podkolzin around 2.2.
Yep. Right now, around in the 2.3, 2.4 right now.
Oh, okay. So 2.3, 2.4. And I always wonder, is like, if I look at Podkolzin, as you mentioned, like sometimes a player, there's a benefit to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And say, hey, now there's other players who are like, you know what? I just want to know I have a contract. I know my personality. I'll play better knowing I have a contract. And if I have a great year and my new contract kicks in, who cares? I'm not worried about leaving money on the table. I'm worried about it. And those are always unique things that unless you know a player individually, it's hard to project that. Right? Some guys are like, you know what? It's not going to bother me if I don't have a contract. Like he's an RFA, he'll get a new contract, and either way. Whereas some guys don't want to play with thinking about what their next contract is going to be. So that always plays a role in it for sure. As Kyle Stitch joins us from AFP Analytics, we're talking about some contract projections. That's what their site's all about. If you want to check it out, you definitely can. Now, goaltending, Kyle, I want to end on that. I don't think Stuart Skinner and the Oilers will have a contract extension before this season begins, this upcoming season. I think it'll be one that happens, either during the year or, next summer after the season is over. He's 26 years of age. He's had a boatload of experience. He's had some ups and downs for sure in his career. He will enter this season as the 38th highest paid goalie in AAV at 2.6. There's currently 22 active goalies at $5 million. When I look at Stuart Skinner's numbers and everything and playoff success and struggles, all of it, that I look and say, like, his next contract, barring something unforeseen, is going to start with a 5, is it not?
Oiler fans probably should, if you're driving, pull over real quick, take a deep breath. We are even projecting 6 million, but I don't see below 5 at this point. Just the way the goalie market's going, it's like what Lucas Dostal just got with Anaheim. It's just continuing to push into the 5s, into the $6 million range. So yeah, I don't see anything below 5. We are projected about 6. That was before the start of the playoffs, we were kind of working on these. So, that maybe knocks him down a little bit. But if he has a solid year, 5-6 is very much on the table. If he has a down year, okay, now that might come in a little bit lower, but then I think it's a question of if Edmonton wants to commit to him anyways. So I think you need to budget out that 5 to 6 for Stuart Skinner. As much as Oiler fans might not want to hear that, that's the going rate for a goalie who has solid success and eats a lot of minutes.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Kyle, we love it, man. Thanks so much for this. We appreciate your time, and have yourself a lovely off season in August.
Yeah, no off season for us. This is prime time. So off season's once the season starts. So
yeah, that's
appreciate
true.
It.
Awesome. Thanks, man. There you go.
You got it. Anytime.
Yeah. Kyle Stitch joining us from AFP Analytics, also the Max Term podcast, where they focus on contracts and comparables. Interesting site to go look at if you're always interested, just to kind of see. I think the Sipelkoff, Podkolzin, man, like Robertson's a fascinating case to me. When he's played, he's produced. And you wonder, like, does the organization, like, they lost Mitch Marner. They haven't replaced him with anybody. And I'm not saying that Robertson's going to score 100 points, of course, but the guy's got some skill. He's a smaller player, and I'm not sure he's a regular top 6, but if they're looking for somebody on the cheap who could maybe score them 15 to 18 goals, I wouldn't be shocked that Nick Robertson doing that for the Maple Leafs. So we'll see. You heard the numbers. The one number, it seems, so far on the text line at 833-401-1440 that has people kind of a little concerned is the Ekholm at 6.5. So we'll get to that. More, we get to some trade talk, the Jays and the need for some relievers. I think that's being put under the microscope even more. Remember, the Jays, as I talked about, the reason why I think the Jays need pitching, the Jays rank 22nd in runs allowed right now in the major leagues of baseball. They just give up too much. Now they score, right? They're 7th in runs scored, which is fantastic. But it has been, now it's a little misleading at times because, man, when they've had a bad game, it's been pretty bad. 13, 12, 13, 11, 16, 14. Like, that's a lot of runs in a 5-game span. So it does skew it a bit. But either way, I think most people who watch the Jays would say, hey, if you're going to add something to the deadline, relievers and a 5th starter would be ideal. So touch on that when we return. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way. Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
McDonald's sundaes and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats, like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
It's the Bricks Price Meltdown. Score hot summer savings like up to 40% off mattresses and a 10% instant credit towards sleep accessories. Save up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, and up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages. Plus, buy more, save more on select major kitchen appliances, up to $500 off. Even more, find hot prices on Canadian-made pieces and get up to 15% off patio furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love, better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks host Sitcom Night tonight at 7. The Prince of Puns, Gene Principe, hosts a celebration of classic sitcoms with wacky contests throughout the game.
Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:45. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Tuesday. It's beautiful outside. What a great day. 25 degrees. Nice. Enjoy. Get the sunscreen on. Way to go. Have some fun. Now, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Will safely take you, your group, or your team to your next destination. Whether you got sporting events, whether you got wedding, stags, company outing, want to get there in style and safe, go to silentrides.ca. And we are getting closer. The MLB trade deadline is about 49 hours away. It comes down at 4 o'clock on Thursday. The Toronto Blue Jays in the first of a doubleheader got spanked again. And I think we talked about it. I've been saying it for a while. The Jays, they need bullpen help and ideally another starting pitcher. How realistic is it? We'll find out. Matt Snyder from CBS Sports, MLB writer, joins us. And Matt, let's start in Toronto with the Jays. And, you know, the need for a reliever and maybe as a starting pitcher. I know they don't have the deepest farm system. Is that realistic, or do you think they don't have enough to get 3 pieces?
No, they can get them. They just, you're going to have to adjust downward. If for example, if they want to go to the Pirates and say we want Mitch Keller and David Bednar, then that might have to be it. Or you could try for lesser if you want to get 3 or 4 players. It just depends on what caliber the talent that the acquiring player would be. So, for example, if one of the relievers was you go to the Rockies and you get Jacob Bird, don't know if the cost is going to be that prohibitive there. So there's probably room to grab a quality starter in addition to Bird there. So it just, I think it can be done. Might have to be creative, like you said, with not the deepest farm system, but they're definitely going to be able to grab some help here. And gotta say, with Max Scherzer having struck out 11 there, as good as Lauer generally has looked, it doesn't seem as pressing to have to get multiple starting pitchers. They're not in as bad of shape there as, for example, the Yankees are. The Yankees need at least 2, you could argue 3 starting pitchers right now with Will Warren having hit a wall. So I think they're in good shape overall in the additions that they need to make.
Okay. When you look at the trade market, and like, who do you see as like the top 3 relievers available that are going to cost the most to acquire?
I think it has to start with the Twins. It seems like they're definitely going to sell, and they're definitely going to start in the bullpen. That means Johan Duran and Griffin Jacks, and they might just be the top 2 names, especially since Emmanuel Clase might have been in that mix, but now he's under investigation by Major League Baseball. I don't think anybody wants to touch him now. because you don't want to trade for a player who might get suspended. Who knows for how long? So I think it starts with Duran and Jax. Oh gosh, to trickle down there, it's probably Bednar next. He's been so good for the Pirates since they sent him down to AAA Indianapolis earlier in the season. I believe the ERA is in a low ones since they brought him back up. So I think it's the two Twins and then Bednar. But there are always going to be quality relievers who emerge. We're starting to hear the Rays talk about Pete Fairbanks there, and he's another really good one. You could stick with the Twins and talk about Danny Colomb is another good one. So there are going to be a lot of relievers out there on the market as we get closer and closer to the deadline.
This just coming down, perfect timing. So we can get your instant reaction as Ben Nicholson.
Okay.
Ben Nicholson Smith is reporting that the Jays are getting reliever Sir Anthony Dominguez and cash from the Orioles in exchange for Jerron Watts Brown. So what do you make of this addition for the Jays out of the bullpen for Dominguez?
The first thing is I'm glad that I just talked about how if you go a little bit on the lesser tier, then you can grab somebody with upside and then you still have enough room to make a bigger splash. So Dominguez is one of those that he has a really live arm, 54 strikeouts and 41 2/3 innings this year. He does walk people. He can get in trouble at times. He's inconsistent, but he has an electric arm there, and the cost isn't too high just from the quick glance at it. That doesn't seem like that high of a cost. So I think they've still got more room here to swing something. And again, to go back to my first example, if you just wanted to talk to one team, they probably still have enough in the pipeline to grab Keller and Bednar from the Pirates. Now, that's going to be a tough move to pull off, and there's a lot of other teams that are interested in doing such a move with the Pirates because Keller's under control for 3 more years and he's so good, and Bednar looks so good right now. But just as an example, they would have enough left to pull something off like that.
Oh, okay. So overall, you think this is a solid move for the Jays? You mentioned, a young prospect. You're not, it's not like a top A ranked prospect by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I think there's upside there, but this is the type of move you make when you're going for it. And it's not anything that I think is going to crush them down the road. Dominguez is, again, he's a complete wild card, but that you're talking about an electric arm right there, a guy that's going to strike out a ton of guys that could come in. There's been times that he looked like a really, really good late inning reliever. Remember when the Phillies made the run to the World Series in 2022? He was one of their later inning guys that they relied on along with Jose Alvarado. So we've got some playoff experience there in this guy. I like this move. There's upside in this move. This is a guy who, as I said, I'm looking now, 17 career playoff appearances with a 1.02 ERA, 27 strikeouts and 17 2/3 innings in the playoffs. So you're talking about a guy who can be a major needle mover in the playoffs. It's just, you're also talking about a guy who had an ERA well over 4 last year because he's inconsistent, but a lot of relievers are volatile.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. It seemed like everybody really needs relief pitchers, but my goodness, it's almost like the old.
It's a risk.
Oh, it's like the Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get line because some guys we see them one year that they make the All-Star team, and then the next year some guys are getting waived. Why do you think relief pitchers are so volatile?
Because it's such a small sample per outing. I mean, you're usually saying just get 3 outs, and you're expected to be perfect. And if you give up 1 run in a game that's a close game, then all of a sudden you're a bum. And if the wheels fall off, it ruins your ERA for months and months at a time. It's just, like I said, there are starting pitchers who they get in trouble in the first inning. They give up 2 runs and then they throw 5 more innings. And you say, oh, hey, 6 runs, only 2 innings allowed, or 6 innings, only 2 runs allowed. That's a really good outing. Reliever gives up 2 runs in his 1 inning. He's a terrible relief pitcher. So that's just the way it's going to be. It's such a tough way to make a living because you can't make any mistakes or it just completely ruins your stats.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's very true. As Matt Schneider joins us from CBS Sports, we're talking trade deadline. The Jays actually making a deal during our interview as they have acquired Sir Anthony Dominguez and some cash from the Orioles in exchange for Jerron Watts Brown. That one coming down from Ben Nicholson Smith. So you look at like the Jays offense, they've scored the 7th most runs in baseball. So I guess you could always look to add it, but starting pitchers, In an ideal world, the Jays would like to add a fifth starter. I don't think there's any debate on that. But
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, do you see like guys who are a good mix or a good fit in Toronto? And what do you think the cost would be for a quality starter?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at a back end rotation type. Like I mentioned Mitch Keller as an example. That's probably shooting way higher than they can afford. But that's the good thing is when you have Barrios, Bassett, Gossman, as good of an offense as you have, that's probably a good enough front three in the playoff rotation. Then it's how's Lauer going to hold up for the rest of the year because he's never really held up a full year in a rotation. How's Scherzer going to hold up because he's 40 years old? If you look for somebody like a fourth or fifth starter, and it's tougher for me to nail these down because people don't really talk about those. They only talk about the exciting ones to talk about. But it's somebody, let's just throw out there. I know the Nationals are going to be a seller. Let's say, for example, the Nationals were going to say Jake Irvin. We'll put him on the block. Not having a very good year this year at all. But we've seen flashes of him being a decent pitcher in the past. Something like that as a 5 to pair back there with Lauer and Scherzer and see what sticks. I could see that, and you would hardly have to give anything at all up for him. So something like that, I could see that. It'd be a lot more exciting, I think, if you zeroed in that division on like the Marlins with Edward Cabrera, because he actually has like electric stuff. He's just been really inconsistent, and it's just a matter of harnessing it. So he'd be a lot more exciting there. But yeah, I mean, I think they have enough that they can shoot for a mid-rotation starter. It's the frontline one. Like I was probably a bad example when I used Mitch Keller right away, but that would be like the home run move.
Yeah, well, for sure. And then, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I think you have to look at every possibility. Like the Jays are good, right? Like they've been the best team in baseball for 2 months. Right? And I know that they've had 3 bad games here, but I don't think that just ruins everything.
Happen.
Right? That just ruins everything instantly. So, and the funny thing is they were winning all these games and Vladdy Guerrero was just playing okay. Now he's starting to heat up. So they definitely got some.
Well, and I think the most impressive thing for me has been the depth of the lineup. And whenever I think of a special season from a team, especially a good offensive team, it's not just the big guns. It's you're going down the list and you're getting big hits and big games from Ernie Clement, Addison Barger, Davis Schneider, Joey Loperfido coming up. Are you kidding me? Nathan Lukes, like that. Those are the special seasons when you're getting it from the guys who you didn't think you were really going to count on heading into the season. That's when it becomes really, really fun.
What about Dylan Cease? Not necessarily for Toronto, but I look at that team and I just wonder about the Padres. They don't have a deep, very deep minor league system. They don't have a ton of payroll flexibility. He's an impending free agent. Would it make sense for them? Because they're still in the mix, but they're kind of a little bit outside of the mix. What would you do if you're them?
It sounds like what they're trying to do. Well, they have to keep going for it. I mean, Preller's painted them into such a corner, and they're in playoff position right now, so they absolutely have to go for it. So if you are going to trade Cease, you need to get back maybe a pitcher to replace his spot in the rotation, in addition to shoring up the DH spot. Yeah. So I don't know Marcell Ozuna makes sense at DH for them. If the Braves have a starting pitcher, obviously it's not going to be like Chris Sale. So they don't have enough to get both of those. Maybe they'd have to work a 3-team trade. They're going to have to be very creative on how they do that. There's word that the Astros are interested in Cease. Maybe there would be something with the Astros have a bunch of guys coming back from injury in August. Luis Garcia, Spencer Arrighetti, Christian Javier, and one more. I mean, there's so many. Regardless, JP France was the other one. Maybe there's a way that they could get Marcell Ozuna and like a JP France and send Cease to the Astros and prospect to the Braves or something like that. That would be the only way I think they could do it. It's just difficult because Preller was operating with just do whatever I want to try to make the big league roster better. And then owner of the Padres, Peter Seidler, died. And now the ownership group is imposing budget restrictions on him. And he spent a crap load of money on guys moving forward. And he's operating within a budget, and he depleted his farm system, but he's still trying to make the club better because he still wants to win a World Series. So he has to be a mad scientist with this stuff, but hey, he's done it in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
For fun, Matt, give me one big name and where you're most confident they're going to end up.
Oh man, I don't think I'm confident in anybody going anywhere right now.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I thought Eugenio Suarez to the Cubs initially, probably a week ago, but like Matt Shaw's starting to hit better, and the Cubs look like starting pitching is becoming a bit more of a glaring need, so I'm less confident on that one. Yeah, I can't really give one in good confidence there. I know that the Cubs are going to do something in the rotation, so maybe I'll zero in on that and say that it is the Cubs who swing for Mitch Keller.
The Cubbies and Mitch Keller. All right, man. We got 48 hours, Matt. So enjoy it. It's going to be hectic. Could be a lot of movement. There's lots of quality teams. There's no real dominant team this year, and that's what makes it intriguing.
That's why I'm looking forward to the playoffs. It seems like it's going to be awesome. There's like waves of dominance, like the Blue Jays right now until a couple days ago. The Tigers earlier in the season, and then they kind of fell apart. The Dodgers just lost 10 of 13. Like the Cubs are going through kind of a down stretch right now. The Brewers are riding high, but I don't think they're going to keep that up. It's just Mets and Phillies have been so inconsistent, but pretty good. Like it looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. It should be awesome. Thanks so much for this, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the next few days.
All right, take care.
As Matt Schneider from CBS Sports, MLB writer. Connor, if you missed it, Connor Halley will update you. The Jays have made a trade, and very interesting trade. Remember when Doug Waite got traded for Esa Tikkanen, and they basically just walked down the hallway, switched their bags and played? Well, that's what's going to happen today. And just for the theater and the drama, I hope we see the newest Blue Jay in the lineup later in the later innings against his former team. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
As Jason just mentioned, the Toronto Blue Jays making a deal acquiring Sir Anthony Dominguez and cash from the Baltimore Orioles for Jerron Watts Brown. For multiple reports, Dominguez has a 3.24 ERA in 41 innings pitched so far this season. Jays and Orioles in action, actually in a doubleheader earlier today. Orioles victorious, winning 16-4. Game 2 gets going in about an hour and a half. You've also got the Rockies and Guardians, Yankees host the Rays, Dodgers in Cincinnati, Twins host the Red Sox, Cubbies taking on the Brewers, and the Astros take on the Nationals. Edmonton Riverhawks back in action, hosting the Night Owls down at Remax. Town gets going just after 7 o'clock in the WNBA. You got 3 games. Valkyries in Atlanta, and Mystics host the Sky. Those get going at 5:30. Then at 8 o'clock, the Aces in LA for a meeting with the Sparks. Bianca Andreescu has withdrawn from the National Bank Open after a round 1 win due to a left foot injury. It's been a frustrating season so far for the 2019 U.S. Open winner, who missed the first 3 months of the season through injury and then took more time off with appendicitis. And from the NFL, Buffalo Bills rookie quarterback Maxwell Harrison having tests to determine the severity of a right leg injury that he suffered in practice on Tuesday. He was the 30th overall pick out of Kentucky in this past draft. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Come experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Friday, August 1st. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug in to your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds
All right,
are
take care.
bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And July 18th.
Ridiculously
Welcome
delicious.
to the Jason Gregor
Enjoy
Show on
the
Sports.
Watermelon Wave
On
and
Sport.
Watermelon Explosion smoothies available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Tuesday afternoon. What a lovely.
Isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission
Welcome
is
back to
not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
This month in Sports History Moment is brought to you by Discount Diesel Parts.
On July 14th, 2013, Jordan Spieth became the youngest winner on the PGA Tour in 82 years. The 19-year-old outlasted David Hearn and Zach Johnson on the 5th hole of a playoff to win the John Deere Classic. He was the first teenager to win since Ralph Goodall took the Santa Monica Open in 1931.
Hi, folks. This is Big Al from Discount Diesel Parts. It's that time of year again, and whether you're a farmer, a truck driver, or on the hometown team, you need to be ready for the road ahead. We have the quality heavy-duty diesel engine parts to help make it happen, and at a great price, too. Visit discountdiesel.ca to achieve your goals, just like the hometown boys in their quest for the cup. And know that Discount Diesel's got the parts to get it done.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. Welcome back. Tuesday edition, July 29th. Happy birthday to my older brother, Buck. I was entering fossilhood today, so congrats on that. Hopefully you make it through the day. Probably just waking up from a nap. You're that old. So happy birthday, Buck. There you go. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. Even if you lose, you're still winning because it stays in the province. Instance lottery, live dealer, sports, casino, all in one shop. PlayAlberta.ca. Coming up this hour, Dave McCarthy is going to join us. Later on, we got Andy Vasquez, Struddy, Speck. Also, we'll talk more about the Jays. And hey, they'll try to avoid, for the first time in franchise history, allowing 10 runs in 4 consecutive games. That's a tough one, no doubt. Sir Anthony Dominguez is the newest member of the Jays. They acquired him from Baltimore. So they play it first part of a doubleheader. Then they make the trade. Now he'll just switch locker rooms, and now he's a Blue Jay. For pure theater, Connor Halley, I want to see Sir Anthony Dominguez in the game tonight against his former team. Do you not?
That would be there's no way you would know this off the top of your head, but like a player dressing for one team in the AM and then in the PM going out for the second match. I mean, I know Eastern time, it was both PM, but
yeah, I think it has happened. I just don't know when. You can look it up. I thought I read that it happened somewhere, but maybe not. Maybe it was like on back-to-back days. I know that's happened. Obviously, we Doug Wade and the Edmonton Oilers, they got traded after the morning skate. So that's kind of the same thing, right? Like you're in the dressing room with your teammates in the morning, and then you get traded in the afternoon. And you come over. Well, you're not playing, I know, but it's close.
We had Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
Same game.
Different
days.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Because he got traded and then it was the doubleheader got delayed, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, rain or delay or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're saying that the Cards and Cubs did it back in 1922.
1922. Yeah,
So-
baseball, man. It goes back. There's very few things in baseball, although we did just see one on Friday that has never happened before. With the 4 home runs, 5 extra base hits, 6 hits, 8 RBIs by the Big Amish, which is pretty impressive. So to do something that baseball, which is the king of statistics, that's when you know you've done something well. So that's good. I like it.
For those wondering, it was Cliff Heathcote for Max Flack.
Whoa. Cliff who?
Heathcote.
Cliff Heathcote.
Yeah.
Jesus, almost like Cliff Huxtable. Pretty close. Have an article up at OilersNation.com that I think has some people interested because, you have discussions, debates, arguments, depending on who you're talking with at a different time. When it comes to, which statistics are best, right? Like some people are like PDO will tell you, and it always evens out when, of course, it doesn't always even out. But they're like PDOs are a really good indicator of it. And I'm like, well, is it? I don't know. So when I look at, I looked at PDO, then I looked at shots for, I looked at goals for, I looked at expected goals. Those are all 5-on-5. And I'm like, well, you can't just use that. Then you got to calculate in special teams. So I looked at special teams on the power play and the goal for, goal against differential. So how many power plays did you score to how many goals did you give up? Shorthanded. Right. And what was your differential there? And then I did it on penalty kill. And then I added all the special teams together. And so keep in mind that looking at the game last year in the NHL, 81% of games, 5-on-5, that took up 81% of the games because it was just over 49 minutes and change on average per team and how much 5-on-5 play happened in a game. Then you had the power play and penalty kill, which came in at around 8 minutes and 57 seconds on average. Obviously, some teams are higher, some are lower. So that comes in at basically 59 minutes or 57 minutes and 59 seconds. So that leaves 2 other minutes of 4-on-4 or empty net, 6-on-5 time. Or even the slight, a goalie's pulled, and so now it's 6-on-5. All right, so that all calculates into the other 2 minutes. Then there's 3-on-3. Well, that's totally different because that's overtime, right? And obviously there's no 5-on-5. There can be some power play time mixed in that, not very often. So, but that's how you look at it. And the one thing I determined was special teams goal differential, which is the amount of your total power play goal differential. So power play goals scored minus the shorthanded goals you gave up. What's that number? Then you have your penalty kill goal differential, which is the amount of goals you gave up in the penalty kill, and then you would take away any shorthanded goals. So if you gave up 40 power play goals but scored six shorthanded goals, you'd then be minus 34 on the penalty kill. Does that make sense? Cons, you following along?
I think I got you.
Okay. So I looked at special teams goal differential. And the team that had the best special teams goal differential, where on the power play, they were plus 57 after everything. And on the penalty kill, they were minus 33. So they finished at plus 24. That was the best overall combined special teams goal differential in the NHL last year. Want to take a random guess at who it was? Hint, not Edmonton.
That was going to be my guess.
No, I wouldn't do that. That'd be too obvious.
Florida.
Playoff team. No, Florida was plus 12. It was the New Jersey Devils. And basically, when you break down all of the regular season numbers, the reason the Devils made the playoffs over the Columbus Blue Jackets was because of special teams, which only makes up just under 9 minutes of the game. And that's really what cost Columbus, because New Jersey had 91 points. Columbus had 89 points. Did you know the Columbus Blue Jackets led the NHL in 5-on-5 goals last year? They scored 201 goals 5-on-5. Second was Washington at 190. Like, they were 11 better than everybody else. They're quite good. But their special teams were brutal. They were minus 12 on special teams goal for differential. Anaheim was the worst. Then Anaheim was minus 41. They're awful. Like, if you're a Ducks fan, send this to Brandon Douglas, Connor. They're like, where the Ducks can improve is their special teams. They were horrific on special teams. Basically being outscored minus 41. They were 20 when it came to a power play goal differential and minus 61 on penalty kill. Like, that's awful. So if you look at Joe Quenneville, and the biggest area they need to improve is Anaheim, is on their special teams, specifically on their penalty kill. Them and the Sharks were just god awful. But going back to Columbus, Columbus, even their goal against differential, they were plus 22 at 5-on-5, where 81% of the game is played. They were plus 22. They should have been a playoff team in a year where you had Montreal and New Jersey, who, and like Montreal wasn't even very, like, they were okay on the power play. They were plus 1. But New Jersey's special teams, basically that was the difference. Because New Jersey wasn't a great team 5-on-5 by any stretch of the imagination. But so it's interesting when you want to look at, because a lot of people PDO is the best one, man. It's going to tell you if your team's playing well enough. Well, at 5-on-5, sure. It can tell you, but guess where Columbus was as a PDO? They were high, right? They were 7th best. Now, did you know playoff? Because people say, they're PDO, they're going to come down to earth. Well, here's the top teams in PDO last year: Winnipeg, Tampa, Toronto, LA, Dallas, St. Louis, Washington. All playoff teams. Then you had Columbus, the Rangers, Anaheim. Anaheim wasn't that bad 5-on-5. They were so bad on special teams. Right? Like the Oilers PDO wasn't, they were actually one of the worst in the NHL. So you would say, and so what's PDO for anybody wondering? It's when you combine your save percentage and your on-ice shooting percentage at 5-on-5. So when people tell me, the Oilers, it's going to be hard for them to be better, I would disagree. I think they have lots of opportunity to grow and have a little bit better save percentage, a little bit better shooting percentage 5-on-5. You do that, it's going to increase. Because here's where it gets interesting for the Oilers. Well, they were tied for 28th, and really there was only one team worse than the 4 teams tied for 28th, and that was Nashville. Edmonton was tied with Philly, Carolina, and San Jose for second worst PDO in the league. But if you get to shot for percentage, because the Oilers led the NHL in shots for 5-on-5. They create a lot of shots. Actually created a fair amount of scoring chance. They didn't bury. They had the 3rd best, them and Carolina, who were both bad PDO teams, but they were 1st and 3rd in shots for percentage. Second was Florida. So that's 3 of your 4 conference finalists were top 3 in shot for percentage. Now Dallas, they were the other one, but they were way down. They were like in the bottom 3rd of the league. You look at 5-on-5 goal for percentage. The top teams: Winnipeg, LA, Tampa, Toronto, Washington, St. Louis, Vegas, Dallas. Florida was 10th. Carolina was 12th. The Oilers were 18th. So it doesn't, there's a little bit of luck sometimes, or inability to finish, right? Expected goals for were exactly the same as shots for. Carolina 1, Florida 2, Edmonton 3. So if you were arguing 5-on-5, you might say that expected goal for percentage and shots for, and really I think expected goals for, and by the way, that varies from site to site, so I'm not as comfortable with that one, me personally, because it varies from site to site. But shots for doesn't vary. It's shots on goal, shots against. Pretty simple. You could make an argument that at 5-on-5, shots for percentage is a better indicator, at least last year, of team success over the other teams. But then I mentioned the special teams. And, the team that had the best power play goal differential in the NHL last year, the Ottawa Senators, they were plus 61 on the power play. They scored 64 goals. They only allowed 3 against. Now, and that's why some would look at, who has the best power play? Is it percentage or is it power play goal differential? Well, I would argue it's power play goal differential, because that's impacting the outcome of games. Like, I might have a higher percentage. Like, Ottawa was 23.8, which I think was, 8th or 9th. Right? You had Winnipeg 28, Detroit 27, New Jersey 28, Pitt 25, Colorado 24, Vegas 28, Toronto 24, Edmonton 23, Tampa 20. All those teams were ahead of them. But Ottawa scored a lot of power play goals at 64. They didn't get as many power play chances, but they scored lots. Right? That was their difference. And they only allowed 3 shorties. Like, Tampa Bay allowed 13. Kind of wild. And then penalty kill. Tampa Bay. They scored 11 shorties, but only allowed 38 power play goals. So they're minus 27. So you combine that with their power play numbers, and they ended up with the third best overall special teams numbers at plus 21. Only Winnipeg plus 22 and New Jersey plus 24 were better. Because if you look at that one, New Jersey, Winnipeg, Tampa, Ottawa, Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, Florida, Washington, Carolina, top 10, all playoff teams. Then Pittsburgh, then the Oilers. So 11 of the 12 were playoff teams. Throw in Toronto and Montreal, and now you got even more playoff bound teams in the top half when it came to special teams goal differential. And when you consider that that's 9 minutes of the game on average, so you have a much higher goal rate than you do at 5-on-5. Like, you look at New Jersey. New Jersey at 9 minutes a game was plus 24. In 49 minutes of 5-on-5 play, they were minus 3. Their special teams was a big reason why they made the playoffs and Columbus didn't. So I guess at the end, when you hear people argue about which ones are, I don't believe there's one statistic that is the clear leader to say, oh, this is going to tell you who are the better teams. I don't think it is. I think there's ones that can influence the game more because of the limited time. And then there's a little bit of luck involved. And it's one that, I'd probably have to go back and look at other years. But for last season, and I know I looked at PDO a few years ago and is pretty consistent, right? There's always going to be a few outliers every year in one statistical category or not, right? Like, for the Oilers, they went from having the most shots on goal 5-on-5 in 2024 to the most high danger chances 5-on-5 to being 13th in goals, and then 27th. Like, this year, they were 28th in shooting percentage, right? 14th in goals, but they were still first and second when it came to shots on goal and high danger chances. Because shots on goal is one thing, but are you creating good quality chances? And the Oilers did that. They create a lot of chances. They just didn't bury as many this year. So their PDO dropped significantly, but it didn't really impact their winning percentage very much. Right? They were still one of only 9 teams who had 100 points. So the one thing I'll say is I don't know if PDO is the do-all end-all that some suggest it is. I can make an argument that shots for percentage is going to be a better indicator. So we'll see. When we come back, Dave McCarthy will join us. We got some off-season NHL talk to get to and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
When you look at a pipe, you just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring. Right now, GS Construction is looking for experienced foremen to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose. You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Summit Restaurant. Located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common, Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
McDonald's Sundays and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats, like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other injuries that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in the technology, techniques, skills, and people who know and how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.327. Welcome back. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Greg's, there are a lot of numbers, and last year you had a lot of numbers too. Why the Oilers were good and you made it to the final, so I'm going to stick with your numbers from Tiger. Well, there you go. Yeah, hey, the Oilers, the Oilers have a lot of numbers. I'm surprised. Like, the Oilers have been in back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, and they this year, they dominated. Like, they slept walk. I know everybody wants to blame the goalie. I don't care. You could have had, well, I was going to say Connor Halley, but that's obviously not the case. I don't care who you had. You could have had Bobrovsky in Edmonton for games 1 and 2 against LA, and they're still getting smoked. They were terrible those 2 games. And, look, they gave up 24 high-danger chances in 2 games. 2. And then I think it was they gave up 15 and the rest in the next 4. So a much easier environment. And they dominated. They went 12-2 after that. Pumped Vegas. Punked Dallas. They were rolling. And hey, they came up against a Florida team that had everything going. You had their third line scoring like first line guys. You had Sam Bennett having the career playoffs of his life. Lots of things going well. And a team that, luckily, due to the NHL rule, had a $9.5 million player added to the postseason to give them much better players and a higher cap. That's just how it works. So I think Edmonton, Everybody thought, I don't like Stuart Skinner's third goal in Game 6. Totally agree with you. But none of them say the same thing about when Bobrovsky let in Ekholm's terrible goal and allowed Edmonton to come back and win that game. Like, what if Edmonton wins the series? Right? Like, that was a bad goal. The difference was in games 5 and 6, Florida created 23 high danger chances and the Oilers created 8. So you had what most would agree, the lesser goalie, but you let him face 3 times as many high danger chances. And then you lost and you're like, what? It's the goalie's fault. No, it wasn't. Florida just played great. The Oilers still have lots of good players on their team. And they'll be highly motivated. There's no question. And with the increased salary cap, I expect them to be wheeling and dealing again at the trade deadline. As we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. In a day like today, it's hot out. Well, McDonald's will help you cool off. $2 Sundays, $2 snack size shakes, or even better, download the McDonald's app and you can get $1 cones only at McDonald's. As we welcome in from Sirius XM, Dave McCarthy, our regular Tuesday guest. Davey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Jason?
Oh man, it's is it hot out there yet? You having a hot summer? What's going on?
The last few days, it's been like 34 degrees.
That's
but
hot.
Honestly, this time last week, I thought it was over. Like, it was a little nippy. I almost had to put on pants and long sleeves to have a beer out at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, because I don't like to have the slightest element of cold surrounding me. If I have to feel cold or have to wear a sweatshirt, I have to put on pants, then I go indoors. Like, put it this way. If you ever hear me saying amongst people, oh yeah, no, it's really hot out. Oh, yeah. That's only me trying to make other people feel better about themselves. I am not complaining. I am loving every minute of it. I wish it was hotter, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I
you
love
the
it.
heat. You love the heat.
Like, so I was with my buddy on the weekend. Bigger dude, love the guy. I don't like air conditioning on in the car. Like, I really don't. No, seriously. So Saturday we hung out. We're at his place. He's like, it's just too hot up, man. So we're in his house. The air conditioning is like a bloody meat locker in there, honest to God. Like a bloody meat locker, okay? His couch is honestly the least comfortable couch of all time. It's one of those ones where the seat is so wide and you got to sit so far back, so your legs are like kind of up, but like they're kind of hanging off at the same time. And the back is short, okay? So it's either cutting you in the lower back or you sit forward hunched over. Okay, so we were doing that like basically all day. And then when I'm driving home, I'm like, my hips hurt, my back hurts, my shoulders hurt. One, I was uncomfortable, and two, I was in a meat locker all day long. It was the worst. Sunday, our other buddy Greg's daughter Autumn, who many more people come to her birthday than Schnur's birthday on Saturday. Don't get us started because Schnur's still not over that. It was her birthday on the Sunday, so I picked him up on the way, and he's like, yo, does the air work in your car? I'm like, oh, are you hot? Are you hot? Oh, I'm quite comfortable right now with the windows open. So no, I do not like air conditioning on in the car unless it's like 40 degrees and unbelievable. I like the heat because we get it for, I think I can count on 2 hands the amount of days we have had real true heat in Toronto. And the rest of the year is cold.
I didn't know that about you, Davey. Next time you come over, I'll make sure to crank up the AC. I love it cold, man. Like, I prefer, I'd rather sit there and have to be cool than and be hot, man. I can't handle being hot. Like, I'll sleep with the sheet on barely. Like, I can't handle being hot. Like, I don't
like it hot when I'm sleeping, but it also doesn't have to be a meat locker in the house. Like, it could just be okay. It doesn't need to be where you can literally have meat hanging by the ceiling and it will not go bad. It's too cold.
It's the best. It's the best.
It's horrendous.
You want the window open. Oh, love it. Right? Like, I'll open I don't do it now because I'm married and my wife can't handle it, but I would sleep in the wintertime with the window open just a crack. And I'd wake up and you could see my breath. I loved it being cold in the room. I slept like a baby. I grew up in the basement. It was always cooler in the basement. So I like it cool. I sleep way better. So.
Like, I like it cool, but not with the window open in Edmonton winters, you nutcase. What is the snow flying in there too?
Well, one night accidentally I did leave it open. It was a little
Holy
too
cow.
chilly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one where I woke up and I'm like, damn, I am actually cold here. That might have went a little bit, stupid. Not gonna lie. We had AFP analytics on in the first hour talking about contract projections and looking at players, and they had McDavid at 16.4 million was their projection based on numbers, and they went off of a percentage of cap because that's similar to what his percentage was when he signed his last deal, which was 12.5 based on what the cap was.
Mm-hmm.
Now they had his term at 4 million, but even said they wouldn't be shocked if it was 3. I don't know if it'll go that short, but 16.4 for McDavid. Like a lot of people are thinking 16 mil. Like I've said this all along for a year. McDavid's going to re-sign before this next season begins, and I firmly still believe that. I won't be shocked at all. Draisaitl signed September 3rd last year, but they didn't hire a GM until July 24th. This year, the GM's been in place all the time, so if he ends up being a little bit sooner, it won't surprise me at all. Will you be shocked that McDavid re-signs at Edmonton?
No, not at all. I think, you look at it, and I think what became clear at the end of the season was that above all else, he wants to win. And I think Edmonton provides him the opportunity to win as good as any team in the NHL does right now. How can you argue that? He's been to the final the past 2 years. Have the Oilers gotten better in the offseason? You could make varying cases. I don't think they've gotten better. I don't think they've gotten much worse though either. And so I'm never ready to sit here and say on July 29th, wow, they're not as good as they were last year. Okay, well, maybe not quite as good. They're not demonstrably worse. And then once you get into the season, stuff starts to shake out. And then guys become available who you didn't think would be available. And then prior to the trade deadline, you make moves. So, they're absolutely in a position to contend again next year. We'll say that. What is he going to get? Like, I think, honestly, 16 is fair just because of who he is, right? Like, he's in a tough spot. He is the best player in the game, and that is not really arguable. Like, if anyone's arguing that, they're probably pretty stupid. But if winning is his primary priority, if you're going to be paid what he is owed, and he is owed every dollar and cent that he gets, regardless of what it might be, it does put the team in a position where it's that much more difficult to build out the team around him. So if he takes the same percentage of the cap that he has currently this time around, what you've done is not really done anything to alleviate the Oilers' cap constraints, of which they are significantly in one right now. So, should he look and say, well, Draisaitl signed for 14, I'll take 14 and a half. I mean, that's theoretically a reduction in salary based on the percentage of the cap, but it would help the team build out their group. It's going to be fascinating to see, but like if you're Connor McDavid, who can fault the guy for taking the same percentage of the cap? Has anyone in Edmonton suggested he hasn't lived up to the last contract? No. So he's earned that money, but it just becomes that much more difficult for the team when they're in the position that they're in.
Yeah, well, the cap space going up, like it's interesting by 2 years at 113 million. McDavid, like I was looking even next year when it's 104, the Oilers currently have Bouchard and Draisaitl signed. They have 11 guys signed at 57. Let's say he gets 16. Now they got 12 at 73. And Ekholm and Wallman get 12 of that, right? Now they've got 14 guys at 85 mil, and all their top guys are really signed. And then they would still have, an extra 20 million to sign Podkolzin, to sign goalies, to sign a number 6 defenseman, to sign, replace Adam Henrique, whose contract would come off the books. Like they're not really, with the cap jumping up as much as it has, the Oilers really aren't that in. I was looking at that. I was kind of surprised at how much cap space they'll actually have. This year will be tight a little bit, sure, because Bouchard and Draisaitl both got raises. But after that, even with McDavid at 16 mil, it doesn't look that crazy, right? And then a lot of their guys are signed. Whereas, that to me is the best part, is that you have your best players signed, and then you just build around your best players. I'd much rather have that than be like, oh, we might lose that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But the issue with Edmonton, to me, is that every year really matters, because this is not a young team anymore. Like 2 years from now, Draisaitl would be 31. McDavid be 30. Hyman's 35. Nugent Hopkins is 34. I'm not saying the window is closing immediately, but it's getting toward crunch time, where maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when it came to the New York Rangers, I was on the record saying they'll be good in the short term, but they are going to get old quickly before you know it. And that happened to an extent last year. I also think there was some self-sabotage involved with the Rangers. But I don't think anybody looks at the Rangers today the way they did 2, maybe 3 years ago with this Rangers team. And that's the thing you have to be careful of if you're Edmonton. You have got to put the team in the best position to take kicks at it year in, year out. You cannot say, well, 2 years from now, look out. I'm not saying that Draisaitl or McDavid are going to fall off the cliff. I'm not worried there. But Zach at 35, Nugent Hopkins at 34, like you're, Darnell Nurse would be 32. I mean, if you bring Ekholm back, man, 2 years from now, he's going to be 37. That's an old team. It's an old team. You've got to make sure you're in position to take the best kicks that you can year over year. And I think that's why a short-term deal for McDavid may not necessarily be the worst possible thing, so that the team continues to afford itself the most opportunity to win. And I think McDavid, if he continues to see opportunity to win in Edmonton, will continue to re-sign.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Dave, if you look around some of the other teams, like the Dallas Stars, they got a new coach in Glenn Gulletson. Colorado made a boatload of changes last year. Now they don't have Mikko Rantanen. And I don't know if any, Vegas did add Mitch Marner, but they lost Pietrangelo and Nick Hague on the back end. I look around the West, and I think a lot of people forget, Edmonton steamrolled Dallas and Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. Those two series might have been the two most lopsided series of the playoffs, arguably. Right? They just weren't that close. So has anybody in the West, in your eyes, closed the gap on Edmonton?
No, I haven't. And I think that's why I said what I said at the beginning of our chat here, is that if you're the Oilers, they're absolutely still in contention to get to the Stanley Cup final, because I don't think anybody's gotten any better in the Western Conference. If anything, teams have gotten worse. Like Winnipeg is worse on paper than they were last year. They lost Nick Ehlers. Colorado, I don't think is as good. Dallas, I do not think is as good. Beyond that, Vegas, yeah, you're right. They got Mitch Marner, but man, Alex Pietrangelo was a guy that ate up 25 to 28 minutes a night on the back end and didn't just eat those minutes up, but was superior in doing so, and they have not replaced him. Do not underestimate Nick Hague and the value that he played on that blue line. So, can't really sit here and say that Vegas got better. They lost 2 key defensemen, and they brought in a guy that might help them offensively during the regular season. But hell, the next time he does it in the playoffs will be the first time. So I don't know if he's going to do it, Mitch Marner, to be honest with you. And then after that, is Vancouver any better? No, they don't really get me going. Calgary doesn't really get me going. Beyond that, we're not talking about contenders. We're talking about teams like Anaheim, who is looking to try to go from remarkably out of the playoffs to knocking on the playoffs door. They're not a cup contender. Let's not get carried away. In the Central Division, Nashville had a terrible year, and they're older. Do we expect them to be any better? Maybe they'll sniff around for the playoffs, but I can't look at them like a contender right now. St. Louis always seems to be just a middling team. Even when they win the cup, they kind of are a middling team, if you know what I mean. And so they haven't really gotten any better. If you're the Oilers, I don't think you look at the Western Conference and say, holy cow, did this team ever, leapfrog past us in the offseason? Not at all. That's why I think it would behoove Edmonton to make sure they try to maintain as much cap flexibility as they possibly can, so that once they get halfway through the year and teams invariably start to fall out and guys become available, they're in a position to pounce and upgrade their team heading into the playoffs. Because if they can do that, come March, if we have this conversation, to me, they're as good a team as any in the Western Conference.
Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Lastly, Davey, being in Toronto, the Blue Jays 2 days away from the trade deadline. They've been the best team in baseball for 2 months. They're obviously taking it on the chin here, but the unique trade where Dominguez gets traded in between the double headers, and he's going to play for the Jays tonight. It's a fun little storyline. And how high is Jays mania in Toronto right now?
Well, it's catching on. It's tough to get tickets to a game these days, especially when the Yankees are in town. Look, the fact that the Jays are the best team in baseball on July 29th, nobody had that on their bingo card on March 15th or whatever it might have been. So incredible, really. Are they overperforming to an extent? Probably, because what have they played over the last 2 months? Like 7:30 baseball almost. Like, who plays 7:30 baseball? They're not a 7:30 baseball team. But I think you have to look at it and say you got to put the team in the best possible position to contend. Now, they seem like they've got a little bit of magic going on. They seem like one of those teams where it's like, how much do we really tweak at this? Do we bring in new bodies? Is that the right time? Or do we have something going here, and is it best to just leave well enough alone? Because, I still don't look at them as a World Series contender, despite how well they've played the last 2 months. But I look at them as a playoff team. And so I'd be careful. I wouldn't delete too much from the room, but I look at the moves that I guess Alex Anthopoulos would have made. Would it have been... Yeah, I guess it would have been 2015, right? Yeah. Where they brought in Ben Revere, where he filled a need. They had an issue in left field, and he helped stabilize that. He gave them some speed along the bases, and he just fit in really well with that group. They brought in a relief pitcher. You can bring in as many relief pitchers. I think you can't have too many of those guys. But they didn't really delete anybody of consequence, and I think that's how they have to go about it again. Because there just seems like that year in 15 when they went gangbusters, right? In the second half. They're doing it again this year. And I don't think you screw around with that because, I don't know, as good as they've been, I think if you tinker too much, you might lose it and then it might all go to waste. So moves like that, if they can address a specific need, I'd like to see them go out and try and do.
Well, they got one reliever. I think they're going to get another reliever and a starting pitcher. That would be my guess on what they do over the next few days. It's definitely stuff. Now, who knows? Maybe Alex Manoah comes up in the final month of the season as a surprise returning and, gets back to who he was a few seasons ago. That would be unreal, but that's probably more of a wishful thinking than a reality at this point. So
starting pitchers are good, right? They don't. Yeah. I don't think they really tinker too much with the chemistry of the team because they go off, they do their own thing. You see them once every 5 days, and then they go on the mound, pitch good, right? They're not in the mix the whole time. They're doing their bullpens. They're in recovery. I think it's a little bit different than a position player. So if they could get a starter, yeah, I'd be on board for that too.
Davey, great stuff, buddy. We will chat with you again next week. Enjoy the AC. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, it won't be running that high. I'll tell you that much.
Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Getting fired up about the Jays. We got a lot of texts on the Jays. Also, we'll get to some more on the Elks. Not good news for the Elks on the injury front. That's coming up next on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave you with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Want some good news? St. Albert Dodge is holding the biggest sale of the year on their in-stock Ram 1500 Sports. Every single one on the lot is discounted by a whopping $14,000. Yeah, 14 grand. And St. Albert Dodge has the best selection in Alberta. Over 90 Ram 1500 Sports to choose from with great packages, including the Night Edition and GT models, all $14,000 off the ticket price. Get down there and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks are feeling happy about Adam Sandler Night. Tomorrow night at 7. Dress in baggy shorts and oversized tees for Sandler-inspired contests and a Billy Madison-style dodgeball game.
Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
Photographers, start your cameras. It's time for Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest. Enter your hometown snapshot and show us what makes your community amazing. Whether it's a view from the farm, a stroll down Main Street, or a weekend at the rodeo, we're looking for snapshots that show off your rural Alberta hometown. Share your photo before September 2nd for a chance to win cash prizes or a donation to your favorite community group. Learn more via Vision's Facebook page or go to what'syourshare.ca.
People you know will go hungry tonight. Your local food bank is like a beacon, reaching out to those in need, offering warmth, food, and hope. Visit foodbankscanada.ca and help them serve hope on a plate, because no one should weather life's hurricanes alone.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Portions of this hour brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate, only at gmccanada.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$350. Wow. Collins is really in like a pensive mood right now. It's a pretty deep song there.
Gets going. Picks up a little bit.
A little bit.
Let's get the CanCon in here, you know?
Yeah, well, that's all right. All right. Well, don't blame it on the CanCon.
I like the song. I played Pharrell Happy today.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a good song. Good song. I don't even honestly who was singing that last song.
Chilliwack.
Oh my God, you're really going back in time.
Yeah. I think that was in Goon, the movie soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you got to give me 20 guesses, and I never would have got that. I never watched. I watched a bit of Goon. I couldn't get into it. I never got into Goon. No, it wasn't my. It didn't appeal to me at all. So
you want to talk pretty bad sequels?
Oh,
Goon 2 was not the best.
Yeah,
but I got a soft spot for the original.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
He's just a good team guy. Does whatever it takes to win. Even defended a poor teammate who turned it around towards the end. Jay Baruchel is kind of funny.
All right.
I mean, you're not expecting a classic when you tune that one on, but I mean, he's wearing number 69. Like it's not a super serious movie, but yeah, I don't mind the first one.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I would ever. There's certain times where you're just like, you know what? I think I'm done. I don't think I would ever watch that show. And I think I've reached that point. Like it's because it's not one where I'm like, it's so good that you have, like, some movies people tell you like, dude, and you haven't got around to watching, then you watch, you're like, wow, that was pretty good. But that's one where I could see if you watch it a certain time in your life, you're like, okay, great. But like, you're probably not watching Goon again, are you?
You know what? I would watch it again. It's a mindless watch. You just throw it on. You don't have to think too much. It's just kind of dumb jokes.
Okay.
One movie I do want to watch again that is a good movie is Inception. First time I saw that, I don't think I really took it all in. So for years, I've been saying I have to rewatch it. Still haven't done so.
Inception. Well, okay, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
And that is a movie, honestly, that you could watch again because it adds a lot of things that you might have missed the first time. Is that fair?
Oh, I think totally fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So I could see that.
Things you might need to see.
Yes. I could see the reason why you'd want to watch Inception again. That I understand. Now, there are certain movies that I'll watch again that I'm sure other people are like, why are you watching that again? Like Braveheart, sure. Gladiator, Forrest Gump. Super Bad, 100% is one that I would watch for sure. So,
do you watch the whole thing? Because I'll do that, and then I usually turn it off at a certain point.
Well, I definitely watched the first hour.
Yeah,
like the first hour of Super Bad is unreal. So, and hey, speaking of unreal, this is good news for all those who are interested in the trade deadline in MLB, because Eugenio Suarez, that guy, most people have him as the number one player available. But he had a CT scan and MRI today. Both were negative, no breaks. So that's some good news. But like, his injury might really impact the D-backs on what the return's going to be. And if a team's patient, they might get this guy and say, hey, we'll just wait for a month. And all of a sudden we get this guy in September. That could be huge for them. So Suarez, MRI today, and both were negative for a CT scan and MRI. So no breaks. So that is good news for him. No question, if you're following along for that. Hey, Gregor, could McDavid sign for 14 the first year and 16 plus every year after? I know sort of a disservice for him to take less, but if he really wants to win, he steps up his salary when the cap isn't so jammed up. From Katie. Katie, no. Now, his actual base salary could do that. But your AAV is the average overtime. Your AAV will never change. So if it's 14 million year one, it's 14 million year 3, year 5, whatever the term is. But your amount of money you take home can vary for sure. But it's the AAV that impacts the players. And so McDavid, now he could sign. I guess in theory he could sign a 1-year deal at 14 million, and then just re-sign again next summer for more. He could do that, right? If he wanted to, he could. Some might say it's crazy, but think about that. Now the difference is the 1-year deal wouldn't kick in until the following year because he has this year left. Then it would kick in the following year. So by then you're saying, hey, why don't we wait until the cap goes up to 113? Katie, that's actually a genius idea. But the superstar players have insurance on their careers anyway, so I'm assuming he has insurance. But we'll see where it goes for that. But Gregor, Suarez won't be available for postseason if acquired after. I know that, but I said, Kirk, you acquire him today, but he doesn't play for a month. That's what I'm saying. No. Yeah, anybody, if you acquire after the trade deadline, you're right. It's just like in the NHL. The NHL has a trade deadline, but you can always make trades after the trade deadline. They're just not eligible for the playoffs. So yes, you are. No, I'm saying you make the trade by the deadline, but then you just don't play him because he's banged up. Yeah. So that's what I was referring. Not to acquire him later. That doesn't do you any good. No. You acquire the guy, and just have him not play, and then away you go. So. Chad Green designated for assignment. Cons, that's no surprise. You've been getting lit up like a Christmas tree lately. So no surprise there, especially with they acquire Dominguez from Baltimore. So Chad Green, who had earlier in the year had been pitching pretty well. He's like a relief pitcher where somehow you just sometimes fall off. And then he's got to go back and he's got to find his game. And it's a hard game to find because if you're doing it in a small sample, I think it's hard to get back in the rhythm. Probably want to let the guy go maybe 3-4 innings at a time down in AAA to find his game again. We'll see. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got Struuuuuuds up in the next hour. Also, we continue on our NFL previews. We got Spec and much more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. The other news, not good for the Elks. We talked about it. Nick Anderson, who didn't finish last game in Saskatchewan, spent basically the entire second half on the sidelines, was not a participant at practice today. Now, that doesn't rule him out 100%, but he wasn't there. I guess Mathis also not practicing. He's still got that back injury. Remember, he took that shot in the game. Mechie also didn't participate, and you kind of thought he would miss more than one game. But, man, Nick Anderson, that's a pretty big blow for the Elks. I like DeBlanco. He's just not he's not as good as Anderson. There's no question. Like, Nick Anderson, for my eyes, might be the best tackler in the CFL. He doesn't miss many tackles. Guys don't bounce off him very often. He's very good technically. But there is good news on the D front as Robbie Smith, who missed a few games with an elbow, did at least take some reps. I don't think he's going to play, but at least he's trending to getting back on the field. Let's get to the Con Man and Sports 1440 update brought to you by 01 Hockeyology, training that improves your game. Treadmills, full ice drills, data back coaching to take your offseason to the next level. Sign up and get a membership for $300 a month, and that gets you 18 sessions. You pick the time, you pick what you want. You want skills, you want to work on skating, you want to work on power, shooting. They got it all at different times. 01.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Toronto Blue Jays making a deal acquiring Sir Anthony Dominguez and cash from the Orioles for Jerron Watts Brown per multiple reports. Dominguez has a 3.24 ERA in 41 innings pitched this season with the Orioles. Jays doubleheader against the Orioles today. Earlier on fell 16-4. Game 2 gets going in about 35 minutes time. Also the Diamondbacks taking on the Tigers, Dodgers, and Reds. Yankees hosting the Rays, Red Sox in Minnesota. Marlins up against the Cards. The Padres take on the Mets once again, and the Athletics hosting the Seattle Mariners. 3 games in the WNBA today. Valkyries in Atlanta, Mystics host the Sky. Goes at 5:30. Then at 8 o'clock, the Aces are in Los Angeles. In town tonight, the Riverhawks will take on the Night Owls. That gets going at 7:05 from the NFL world. The Bills rookie cornerback Maxwell Harrison is having tests to determine the severity of a right leg injury that he suffered in practice today. He was selected 30th overall after being a starter with the Kentucky Wildcats for 2 seasons. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some New York Jets with Andy Vasquez, and we'll be joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Back to demand.
Welcome
the
back.
Operation 36
Tuesday
Junior
edition.
Golf Program at Cattail Crossing Golf Club. Designed for kids ages 5 through 17. It combines instruction and on-course play, focusing on technique, strategy,
Welcome
and
back,
course
Sports
management. Taught by
1440.
certified
They could get a
CPGA
starter.
pros. Only $325 for 4 weeks of instruction, plus 4 9-hole rounds of golf. Operation 36. Wednesdays, 5:30 till
Sounds
7:30
really,
p.m. through August. Register at cattailcrossing.ca. Click on Junior Program or call 780-973-66 $26.86.
McDonald's Sundays and snack size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats. Like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Edmonton Elks salute to service, presented by James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. August 2nd, 1300 hours. EE battles the Ticats. Catch the Royal Canadian Air Force pregame flyover, the salute to service flag football tournament, and more. Tickets start at just $20 at goelks.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each order at papajohns.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Ooh, a little EJ Elton John for you on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show. As always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It's Tuesday, Lotto Max, $40 million. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. And good luck to you. Good luck. As we get to our NFL report now, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charge. Your AC unit conks out late tonight, maybe on the weekend. Give them a call. No OT. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. And we continue our NFL previews. We stay in the AFC East. From Advance Media, Jets reporter Andy Vasquez joins us. Andy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. We're glad to have you here. So the New York Jets have been an interesting organization. There's been some drama, maybe more off the field and on. It seems like from afar that the drama, at least to start the year, is a little quieter than the last few years. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say a little would be an understatement. It's to the point where most of the drama is related to players accidentally throwing the former coach and coaching staff under the bus. But that's about all. And I don't even think they're trying to. It's just, they're talking about what Aaron Glenn is bringing as a coach, and it how it's more about action than about talk, or at least the talk being compatible with the action. And I think that's a good step in the right direction. I think, having a quiet off season was what they needed and a sign that things are different. And yeah, Glenn, he's been impressive in terms of, all the players have talked about how he's communicated very clearly his expectations and that he has things in place to hold them accountable for it. And, Elijah Vera Tucker, they're very good starting right guard, said that's not something I've had very much of in my career. And he's been with the Jets since 2021, came in with the old coaching staff. So it's just, and he's the most uncontroversial guy you're ever going to find. So if you're hearing it from him, it must be true.
Okay. So, that's obviously a good sign. You look at it, let's start at the quarterback position. Justin Fields had an injury, but then, he came back and now he's fine. Like, obviously, I don't think he's going to play in the first preseason game at all. But how is Fields looking? How much, is this going to be Fields or Tyrod Taylor? Who do you ultimately see playing more?
Well, it's going to be Fields. They basically, right after they signed him, they said he's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, I think if he were to lay an egg in training camp and not show any of the potential that has been untapped, the whole reason they signed him, I think it would be a different story. But, he's had a pretty good camp so far. He missed 2 days of team drills after the dislocated toe, but he's now been back for 2 days. At the end of practice today on a 4th and 2, he had a 10-yard scramble. So he's wearing like protective cover over his right foot so he doesn't get stepped on again. But I think, considering how traumatized Jets fans are with early season quarterback injuries, going back a decade, but obviously what happened 2 years ago, it was a pretty good outcome for him to just miss a couple days. And yeah, I think the job is his unless he plays really poorly. And that will go into the season, and the same thing will hold true during the season. I mean, the whole reason they signed him to a 2-year deal is to see if they could get something out of him that the others, the Bears and the Steelers couldn't. And that's what they're going to find out. So I also think it's going to be a very heavy run offense that's trying to put him in the right situations to make, the plays and to obviously bolt when the plays aren't there to be made. And I think that will help him and having an offense that's kind of tailor-made for him.
Like, he's had some years where he's been a pretty, impactful player, to be honest. And I think a lot of people look and say, this guy could be like Cam Newton. I know some people are like, oh, Cam Newton wasn't very good. I'm like, Cam Newton was a pretty good quarterback for many years. And I probably thought was a guy who took way more punishment than most other quarterbacks at times. But, you look at him, Breece Hall, pretty good playmaker. Garrett Wilson, obviously a good playmaker. Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, like, they've got on paper some decent offensive weapons.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Cam Newton did and how successful the Panthers were. Obviously didn't win a Super Bowl, but you're talking about a team here that hasn't been to the playoffs in 14 years. So Justin Fields, had the second highest rushing total in NFL history for a quarterback. The same year Lamar Jackson set the record, and he was like 80 yards behind him. So there's a ton of potential there, and I think it's just seeing if he can be a competent passer of the ball. That's really kind of the question mark. And yeah, the weapons are there. Garrett Wilson feels good about the offense for the first time in his career. Breece Hall, Aaron Glenn said the other day they're splitting them out wide, and that's going to be something they do. I think he's the second best receiver on the team. It's not really close. And you look at what he did a couple years ago coming off an ACL injury. He was like 5th in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. He had a really rough year last year. Didn't look good in terms of breaking tackles, had a hard time adjusting to what he was being asked to do within the offense. And, otherwise we'd be talking about him as kind of a central, figure in this whole rebuild as well. So I think he's due for a bounce back year and a contract year. Mason Taylor, the tight end that they drafted in the second round, has really come on the last couple of days of practice, showing some chemistry with Fields. So yeah, I think the weapons are there. It's just, they've got a first-year offensive coordinator in Tanner Engstrand coming from Detroit, where he was the quarterback's coach. And it's kind of hard to know what he's going to do, what the identity is exactly going to be. But, when you're seeing the offense have more success in training camp, when for the last 5 or 6 years, the defense has always dominated, I don't think it's because the defense has taken a huge step back. I think it's because they have a coherent plan on offense and enough weapons and blocking to execute for the first time in the 10 years that I've covered the team.
Okay. Looking at I guess let's start at the offensive line. And Membu, of course, the right tackle comes in high pick, and they're expecting him to be a difference maker. I know it's super early, but it's an incredibly important position on your O-line, both your tackles. How's he looked?
Yeah, he's looked pretty good. I mean, he's had some rookie moments. Will McDonald, who is known as a speed guy, put on some weight this offseason and kind of bull rushed him when the spin move stopped working in a practice a couple days ago. I think that was a good learning experience for him. But most of all, he's held his own. Olu Fashanu has looked, solid at left tackle. He kind of was thrown into the fire last year, had to play guard for the first time really in his life for most of the game, had to play right tackle for the first time really in his life and passed the test. And the offensive line got much better when he was in at left tackle for the second half of the year. And then, they've got a center in Joe Tippmann. They brought in a guy to compete for the starting job with him and Josh Myers, but I think Tippmann's, got the leg up on that competition. Farrah Tucker, who we talked about earlier, is great at right guard. And John Simpson was kind of a breakout guy last year for them, coming over from Baltimore in free agency and looked really good. And most of these guys are really good getting pushed for the run. So, it's an adjustment for them with a new offense, but it's still a zone blocking scheme. So, I think this is going to be the strength of the team. And if they can create room to run, the Jets have three really good running backs and Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, and Isaiah Davis, who are going to take advantage of that space. So I think that's where it starts. And obviously Fields is going to benefit from that too. What Rodgers never really got, which was solid protection. Still a work in progress for the younger guys, but I think they're going to improve with protection as it goes on.
Andy Vasquez joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look at the New York Jets. And now looking at the defensive side of the football, Andy, Robert Saleh had built up a pretty good defense going back a couple of years ago. They did a really good job, and there's still a lot of those pieces that transfer over into this new regime with new head coach Aaron Glenn. Scheme-wise, are there some similarities there, or are they learning a new defense?
No, they're learning a new defense. It's Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, who's been a long time, very successful coordinator in the league. And I think they're kind of melding their ideas. So it's not going to be exactly what you saw in Detroit from Glenn or exactly what you've seen in San Francisco or Carolina with Wilkes. But I think you're going to see, combinations. One thing that they've openly mentioned and that we've seen on the field is, they're going to mix it up. They're going to have where before you never see Sauce in the previous defense, you've never seen him follow guys.
Okay.
I think you're going to see that more. I think you're going to see cornerbacks blitzing, safeties blitzing, and the Jets, basically before their strategy on defense was to have 4 fresh pass rushers on the defensive line and rotate them in and get after the quarterback that way. I think it's going to be a lot more creative, and it's going to be interesting because they were very successful in terms of, for a while there, everything, but especially the last 3 years, even when they struggled last year, they were top 5 in yards allowed. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can, keep that level of play with a new sort of scheme, and also losing a guy like DJ Reed, who was a really solid cornerback to Detroit in free agency.
And I want to just go back to the offensive side, just, for the fantasy football players out there. We know running the football is going to be a huge factor for Justin Fields, and he's got that ability as well. Breece Hall's been a guy in the past. I mean, he shows us flashes as a receiver as well. What are you expecting the balance to be between Breece Hall and Braylon Allen?
I think that's kind of an open question, and one of the big open questions of training camp, because Breece Hall opened the door with kind of his struggles last year in terms of not being the guy going in. I still think he's going to be the number one guy, but I think it's going to be a lot closer to, an even split of reps. And I wouldn't sleep on Isaiah Davis either. They like him. He's shown ability. All three of these guys have shown ability in terms of passing in the pass game, catching the ball. So I think, it's going to be a pretty close to even split between Breece and Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen right now missed today's practice and will have an off day tomorrow with some knee soreness. It's just something to watch. I don't think it's serious, but something to watch. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit less of Breece being the bell cow in terms of running, but I would not be surprised if he was more heavily involved in the passing game.
When you look at the tight end position, Mason Taylor is with Wilson and Reynolds and Hall and Allen and Lazard, is the tight end going to get any balls?
I think so. I mean, it's not hard to improve on the production the Jets have gotten from tight end. I think Tyler Conklin has been their best tight end of the last decade. And you're talking, I don't think he got over 600 yards in a season. So I think you're going to see the tight ends more involved because I think there'll be situations where they have two tight ends on the field more often when they're trying to run the ball. And that's going to give them opportunities to, have those guys as decoys and on play action and get out there. I do think Mason Taylor is going to be a factor for them right off the bat and probably more productive than Conklin was. I would lean toward him, but the other tight end, Jeremy Ruckert, has chemistry with Fields because they played together in college.
Okay.
And also, while he didn't rack up huge numbers in college at Ohio State, he did have like 7 or 8 touchdowns, which shows, Fields went to him in the red zone and that he's able to catch the ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if tight end was kind of a breakout position for the Jets this year. And especially with Fields scrambling, the fact that he's building trust with Taylor and has the trust in Ruckert, that could be a nice little outlet for him when he's under duress.
What about on defense? Where do you see, is there a clear strength for their defense?
I think it's still the secondary, even after losing DJ Reed. Sauce, I know he had some struggles last year, but the talk of, him having this giant fall off a cliff was a little bit overblown. He definitely needs to improve on his tackling. But I think he's still one of the best corners in the league, right there with Surtain in the conversation for being the best in the league. And I think he's motivated to show that. And, Brandon Stevens is kind of a roll of the dice in free agency. They brought him in from Baltimore after a down year, but he's shown it before. Andre Cisco, another guy who had a down year in Jacksonville last year, came in free agency, has looked really good to start camp. And they've got a couple rookies, Malachi Moore, a safety who I think is going to really challenge for a starting job out of Alabama. They drafted him in the 5th round, I believe. And A.Z. Thomas out of Florida State, another 4th or 5th round pick who has shown a lot. And I think he'll push Stevens for that job. So I think, they have some question marks there, but I still think they're, with Glenn and Wilkes, who are both secondary minded guys, that's where they're going to kind of build the defense from. They have 2 good edge rushers and Will McDonald, who broke out last year with 10.5 sacks. Jermaine Johnson tore his Achilles in the second game. He's on track to return for the start of the season, but, I think you kind of got to be worried about their pass rush to start the season just because they're going to ease him in even if he's 100%. He's still on PUP. I think midway through training camp, it's probably a realistic time for him to get back out there, but he'll probably be on a pitch count the first 5-6 weeks of the season, and that leaves them with Michael Clemens as their 3rd edge rusher. And Michael Clemens proved last year that he's not really a starting caliber edge rusher. So that's something to watch early in the season if they're getting push, especially because at defensive tackle, they've still got Quinnen Williams, who's great, and a guy who disrupts and gets pushed from the inside. But alongside him, they lost John Franklin Myers a couple of years ago, a guy who sometimes rotated to the inside. And they don't really have an established, starting level nose tackle to pair with Quinnen Williams. And I think defenses are going to key on him. So that's a concern, the pass rush. And they've got, a former first-team All-Pro linebacker in Quincy Williams, Quinnen's younger brother, or actually older brother. He's just smaller. And Jamie Sherwood, who they signed to a big money extension, led the NFL in tackles last year, and I think he might still be on the upswing. So I think they're set at linebacker even after losing C.J. Mosley to retirement. It's going to be interesting to see how all the pieces fit together. I know I'm sounding very optimistic, but I've been burned with that with the Jets before. But I still think the talent's there. They have all-pro, first-team all-pro talent on the D-line and Quinnen Williams, in the linebacker core with Quincy Williams, and obviously in the secondary with Sauce. There's not many defenses that could say that. So I think as much as I kind of raved about the offense, I think that's going to be more of the work in progress. The strength of this team is going to be its defense, and I think they're going to find a way to keep that identity and be a top 5, top 10 defense, even with a new regime and after losing some players.
Great rundown, Andy. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the preseason that's coming up right away. and just around the corner to another NFL season. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Andy Vasquez joining us. The Jets, the Dolphins. Can any of them really push the Bills this year, Cons? Or is this like the easiest division to pick? Like the Bills by 3 games again?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise anybody, I would think, for the Bills to go 6-0 against this division. Top to bottom, they're just a better roster. So, yeah, I would say so. The Dolphins, I think, are kind of interesting. The Patriots could be as well, but no. It goes through Buffalo once again.
Yeah. Quick break. When we come back, Jason Struuuuuuds will join us. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Discover Days sales event has been extended at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $7,500. Final month extended. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $4,000. Save up to $7,500 on a 2025 demo XC40. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
It's the Bricks Price Meltdown. Score hot summer savings, like up to 40% off mattresses and a 10% instant credit towards sleep accessories. Save up to $900 off sofas and sectionals and up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages. Plus, buy more, save more on select kitchen appliances, up to $500 off. Even more, find hot prices on Canadian-made pieces and get up to 15% off patio furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe, the Prince of Puns, and I've got something that definitely will float your boat. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from LA and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Struuuuuuds, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one haul of a trip. Prices start at just $23.99, and part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Call and save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. Cast Tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Ah, summer. The sun's out, the road's calling, and your car said, nope. Don't let your summer road trip turn into a roadside nap. Swing by Napa Auto Parts. Napa has the trusted tools, smarts, and quality parts for all your automotive needs this summer. Get your vehicle ready for the road and just in time for your kids to start testing your patience and sanity.
Are we there yet?
With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Keeping your grass looking trimmed and beautiful all summer is a breeze with Toro in the Lawnmower Hospital. Head in and see a wide variety of residential walk-beyond gas and battery mowers with personal pace, easy starting, and with Smart Stow, saving up to 70% more room when storing. For bigger properties, try the Toro Titan with MyRide suspension. Financing available. See lawnmowerhosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
McDonald's sundaes and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats, like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service, rain or shine? Japa's service department is here for you. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.427. Welcome back. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. It is summer. Use the promo code SUMMER100 and you will get A free, well, with a $20 deposit, you get a free $100 play in the casino at playalberta.ca. So that's summer 100. It's time now to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. And in the room today, it's Struuuuuuds on, brought to you by Action Electrical, where they're got 4 divisions, as they are the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. Project, service, tag, and energy and solar. They supply it all. ActionElectrical.net.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struuuuuuds on.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea, and it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags. I'll
Struuuuuuds on.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you hand me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struuuuuuds on.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. You need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in the bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struuuuuuds on.
$4.29, the kind you get at an Elks game. You don't get them at an Elks game, Struuuuuuuds. That's the problem. I've been waiting for you to be petitioning for that, the return of peanuts. I haven't.
Well, who was it? What mayor was it that I challenged? Was it this Hall guy?
Yeah, Don Iveson.
Don Iveson, yeah, challenged him to a one-on-one game, and I would clean up a whole park if you just bring him back. But he said he was too busy, which I guess he is. I guess that is a pretty busy role in there.
Can be, right? It can be at times, for sure. Let's get to a few things here. The Elks, I know you're a little bit of a Rider fan. You and Low Tide wearing your green and whites. You guys get excited, but what did you make of the green and gold in Regina on Friday?
Well, I mean, the challenge for this group is that, they have a whole new management group, right? From top to bottom, everything is new there, and they're trying to get a culture set up that they want. They brought a lot of guys on defense. They're trying to get the quarterback situation straight out with Cody and obviously Trey. But it doesn't, wins and losses, they do matter. But I think because you want to get fans to the game. But what I really value is seeing improvement in the way they do things, where they operate, and getting back to what people used to call the Elks way. And I think that's what the challenge is for those guys like Chris Morris and company, to get that type of feeling around it. Because, wins are fleeting if you're just lucky. And everyone who's ever coached a team knows that, I won a game we probably should have won, or we lost it, but it doesn't really matter. But what you want to do is have that consistent improvement and growth. I think that's the job that Chris Morris is tasked with, as well as Ed Hervey.
Yeah, and it requires some patience. We had Cody Fajardo on the show yesterday, and they're going to play some of that later on in the final hour of the show today. I thought he had some real good, honest insight into the team and where they made strides. And he felt like the fourth quarter, like he admitted, man, my first half, I hadn't played a competitive game really since the playoffs. So, he said it was kind of getting the sea legs underneath him. And, just there were some reads that he didn't like of himself. He admitted the third quarter, they were terrible, but he really liked what happened in the fourth quarter. And, they did score 2 touchdowns and came close, but ultimately not close enough. And you're at the point now, though, Struuuuuuds, like you've been on losing teams. Now, the difference in hockey is, it's rare you go a month without a win because you play 12 games, right? Whereas in football, you can lose 3 in a row, and it's like, oh my God, we haven't won in a month with the bye week. And I know that Cody said their room's still upbeat and confident, but it does become harder the more the wins pile up. And right now, even if it's not sustainable, I think they just got to find a way to win a game.
Yeah, well, good point, really good point. And what happens is when you're struggling, when you haven't won, you're looking for things to go wrong rather than bounces to go right. Like, let's just compare the Elks with what the Blue Jays have been doing. I know they lost, but when you watch them play, they're having fun. Bounces are going their way. I mean, against the Yankees are booting balls all over the place on the infield, and they're getting extra runs that way. So I think you create your own bounces. I don't believe in luck. I believe you do the right thing over and over again, and those bounces come to you. But you think they're going to happen, whereas when you're struggling, it goes the other way. So, it kind of goes back to what I talked about. Like, how do you get those guys to believe in what they're doing? The coaching staff, the trainers, the gym, and the players to believe in what they're doing. And then you start to get those wins. But the problem is, the longer you go without a win, the harder it is to get that win and to get that feeling in that room. Because ultimately, there's winning and there's losing. That's all there is. You just feel like a bag of turds when you lose, especially when you're losing repetitive games like they have, and the spread between the two games, or the games I guess they have. So, oh man, it's tough because I like some of those guys on that team. I want them to do well, but I can see what they're trying to do, but it doesn't turn around quickly because you look at this franchise, it hasn't really been up to par for, I don't know how long, Greg. Do we have to go before COVID? So 19, 18, somewhere in there?
Yeah, no, it's been a stretch since the Elks have been competitive. And, that can last a while. But it does become a losing environment. Now, I know they changed a lot of things this year, right? The new head coach, new GM, new president, new owner. Like, they've changed virtually everything here. And right now, even a new quarterback because Cody Fajardo is there. And it takes time. It's probably unrealistic to think that the Elks are going to have like this quick, massive turnaround, and they're going to be all of a sudden competitive, and everybody's going to be like, oh, this is awesome, because it's not realistic if we're being bluntly honest. So how patient do you think they are? Like, have you seen enough signs, or are you worried that they're almost on the verge of going backwards?
Well, I think you have to look at it from the very highest level, and that's Ed Hervey and Chris Morris. They have a new coach, new coaches, some new players, but those guys have to think that they're going in the right direction. So I don't want to say this year is a toss-away because that's unfair. You want to get people into those seats. And we've talked about before, like, Struddy, the Buffalo Sabres had a great second half. I didn't believe in the Buffalo Sabres back then. I don't believe that's garbage time you're trying to dig out. So is that fair to say it for the Elks as well? Like, are we going to start looking at post-Labor Day, and let's say they're 500, and is that enough to say they're heading in the right direction? I think it is, because I believe in the people they have at the top can get this going the right way. But unfortunately, you're turning such a big mess around. It takes a long time to get the right things in there.
Yeah, no, that is totally true. Jason Strudwick joins us. Struddy, we had a guest from AFP Analytics, Kyle Stitch, on in hour number one. And, those guys, they do all the number crunching, and they look at, projections of salary cap and what they're looking at. And so I went through 5 guys on the Oilers who are either UFAs next year or RFAs. So technically, if you want to sign them, you could right now. And I know the Oilers have had conversations with all of these camps. And so Connor McDavid, we'll start there. They had McDavid coming in at $16.4 million. Now, they said, you know what, they probably expected, a 3 or 4 year deal. Now, so I'm going to ask you this question, because Katie brought this up, and I'm like, you know what? What if Connor McDavid says, okay, I'll resign, but I'll sign for 1 year? So that takes him to this year. Then the following year, then he can sign an extension at he could sign if he wants for $14 million for 1 year. But then when the cap goes up to 113, he could jump up to $17 million for 3 or 4 years. So he still gets the exact same money, but he's going 1 year at a time. Would you do it if you're Connor McDavid?
If I'm the Oilers?
No, if you're McDavid.
If I'm Connor McDavid. Well, I mean, the Oilers, you just do whatever he wants. You sign him to whatever he wants. But if you're Connor McDavid, geez, that's a tough one. If I lived on a string of 1 year contracts, and in fact, I probably hold the record for the number of 1 year contracts and still playing the NHL. But I think if I was Connor McDavid, I'd like to know where I am, because I want to have stability for myself. And not that he's going to move around. This isn't a journeyman. But also, I want to give that security and that steady influence to my team so that they can plan out further than 2 years. So let's say he signs a 5-year deal, counting this year, that's 6 years. That's a huge amount of time in the NHL for my team to know what my number is, to know what they can move around, and what they can do. Say, okay, we're going to build here. We're going to try to get this. We have a younger player. He'll be ready in year 3 of Connor or whatever. And so I think that I want to be able to give my team a little more stability and just certainty about my number if I truly want to be here. And I think, take him at his word. I mean, he's been here, what is it? This is 10th year this year. I think at that point you have to say, yeah, he's playing here.
Okay. Because to me, it's a fascinating one. If you look at it from a business standpoint and say, hey, you know what? Instead of going at 16 mil for 4 years, we go 14 and then we go 17 and a half. You get the exact same money, but we get $2 extra million for the 1 year of that deal. And then the cap goes up from 105 or 104 to 113, right? Like, it's a massive jump. in 1 year. And if you're committed to winning, you think outside the box, right? Like Connor McDavid's insuring his career. I'm not worried about it. He's going to get his money, right? And that's not cap circumvention. To me, it's smart. You're looking at any area to improve your team. And so I thought it was a fantastic idea. And it's one that, I'd strongly consider it, because if he's looking at a 4-year deal at 16 mil, right? We do the math, that's 64 mil. So then if he does at 1 year at 14, then you sign a 3-year deal, which so you're still getting the exact same term, but then you sign the 3-year deal at 51. He actually technically makes an extra mil, and your cap space is, instead of 16, it's 17. And when the cap goes up that much, I don't think it matters, because Draisaitl's already under contract, Bouchard's under contract. Like, you don't have anybody else who's coming up at a big number on any stretch of the imagination. So then you could fill out the rest of your roster quite nice.
Well, I guess the other piece, does Connor want to answer these questions all the time? Right? So he's answered them this year, and he signs another 1 year. Now he's got to answer it again. So does that, is it worth it? Now, I don't want to be casual about $1 million, Grace, because that's a lot of money. But for him, we look at percentage-wise of what his cap earnings will be over his whole, let's say he plays 20 years. I mean, he's going to be into the, past 200 million easily. So, this is just on the emotional level, does he want to have to deal with these questions all the time? And I would guess no. But, he may to get those extra. But I don't get that sense from Connor McDavid. I think he wants to have that stability for him and his franchise, and just say, this is where I am. This is what I'm dealing with now. And we're all going to just move forward with this number.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He could easily answer. He says, guys, look at the salary cap. That could be his answer, right? I'm looking to maximize, right? Answer it truthfully. It's not a hard answer. No one else asks you again. To me, you could do it if you wanted. Now, the other numbers that I found interesting, they had Ekholm at 6.5 mil on a 2-year deal, and Jake Wallman came in at a 5-year deal at around the same boat as 6.5. What do you make of those two projections?
So this is the interesting thing about the Oilers' defense, is that, I think the Oilers fans like Kulak, they like Ekholm, they like Wallman. But, Ekholm's getting older. And then you obviously have Kulak, who's also getting older. And then you have Wallman, who's younger. I think you got to get Wallman locked in for sure. And you said 6.5 for Wallman?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have everything in front of me, but I think that Wallman's a guy that is a top 4 D man. I think that he can run the power play, although he'll never probably get it with Bouchard here. So you're looking as a puck mover on that second pairing, moving around. And so what was on the first one, the first deal?
Was Ekholm at 6.5 for 2 years.
Yeah. So, if you sign those two guys to that, what does that mean to Kulak? And is Kulak satisfied with this role as kind of that 4-5 guy, or in that area? So I'd like to see Ekholm. So you're basically signing Ekholm for the same you have. I think that, you'd like to probably shave a little bit off of that if you can, just to save a little bit of money. And I'd probably redirect that money to Wallman. But this D is getting a bit older, so you got to find some way to turn them all over, or not turn, but to be prepared to turn them over and have people coming in to replace them. And I think because those are 3 important pieces on this team, not just the D.
Yeah, it's true, but I think their defense, Ekholm's getting older. I don't know if you're going to re-sign Ekholm, Wallman, and Kulak, right? Like, they're all UFAs at the end of the year. It just doesn't make sense when you got Nurse, right? Like, at some point you got to spend some money on your right side. Right. So that's why if you're doing Ekholm and Wallman, then you're basically saying, hey, Brett Kulak, we're not bringing you back. And then I wonder, does Brett Kulak become a trade piece at the trade deadline?
Well, here it's funny how history repeats itself. You and I talked about Broberg, and I said you have to trade Kulak to give room for Broberg, right? There needs to be some way to move up, guys, for them to see a path. And right now there's no path on that left side really for anyone. So, I talked about trading someone from the left side to get a right shot defenseman. And I forget the guy I mentioned at the time, but someone who's kind of in that same range. So now you balance out your D and reallocate some of the money to the other side. So what you're saying makes a ton of sense. And then your D is the next few years. It's those Nurse, Ekholm, and Wallman. And then Kulak has been shifted to a right shot. Ultimately, you love to find a right shooting Kulak. That's what you'd love to have. I don't know who that guy is off the top of my head, if he's even available, but that's almost like a real trade Griggs, rather than, flipping him for a third-round draft pick or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's an interesting one. And then Podkolzin, Struddy, where are you on Podkolzin? Like, I think Podkolzin's a player who makes $1 million this year. His extension had him at a few years at around 2.3, which for a guy who penalty kills and can play. To me, there's only upside in Podkolzin. And if you get him at 2.3, the chance with their new skills coach and everything else, his work ethic, all that stuff, that he's a player like. I don't think he's ever going to be elite offensively or even above average offensively. But if he's okay offensively at that number, you're pretty happy.
If I was Paul Colson, I would call Leon and say, Leon, can I come train with you this summer? I don't stay at your house, but I want to skate with you and I want to work on the stuff you do. And I want you to show me the stuff you do. And I'm sure he did during the regular season, but off season is way different than the regular season. And I'd say the same to Connor. Like, can I come and just, I think maybe they live together in Toronto. Just kind of watch you and practice with you. And why wouldn't those guys want that? Why wouldn't they try to want one of their, a guy who's, a pretty important piece on this team, current role player, to work on those things and take those skills, the type of skills they do home, so he can work on those things, because he needs to work on finishing. Like, he seems to find the puck on his stick in pretty good areas, quite a bit for a role player. So can he find a way to get more of those pucks in there? If you can get to 20 million, if you can get to 20 goals, all of a sudden 2.3 million doesn't look too bad. So he's actually a player I might bet on. Trying to, if I knew what he was doing this summer, because you've talked about it many times, what he does pre and post practice. Sooner or later, you got to break through. What did Fogle cost LA? Was he 3.5 or 3.7 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is he that much different than Fogle? Well, he hasn't scored 20 some goals before. Whereas Fogle was, if not 20, he was right around 20. I think I'm right, Greg's in there, in that area somewhere. So can you say we're going to bet on this guy at 2.3, thinking that he is a 20-goal scorer because of the work he's going to put in? And I think he can get there. I really do. Doesn't mean he's a 40-goal, but 20-goal at 2.3, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. No, it definitely, it's something to consider. It makes a lot of sense. So I'd look at it for that. And one last for you, Struddy. When you look at the Oilers and Savoy and Howard, do you think both of them play all year in Edmonton?
Oh man, it'd be amazing if they were able to. The challenge is you have to give them a chance to succeed, and to do that, you have to play them with players that are like them and they can think the game at their level and make plays. You have to live with their mistakes as well. I remember when Everly and Hall came to Edmonton. They were able to score and wheel and deal, but just like every other supremely talented offensive player, they give up sometimes, close to what they create, which isn't, always easy as a coach to just swallow that. So how do you get these two guys up and running? So I think Howard's never played a professional game. I want to see what he looks like. And maybe he starts the year there, but saying, buddy, we're going to put where you think you're best to keep playing and keep developing your skill set. Now, Matt Savoy's a little further down the road, but they're not huge guys, either one of them. But you have to give them a chance to play, to create, to be offensive players, and allow them to make those mistakes. So they're, to me, the most interesting. Them and the new goalie coach, and maybe the approach he has with the netminders, are the two most interesting storylines throughout this whole offseason and we head into training camp. Because if they can play and contribute huge, likelihood of both of them doing that's probably not high. So maybe even one of them fitting in and another one coming in later would be massive.
Struddy, have yourself a great night. We'll chat with you next month. Have a good one.
See you, boys.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick. Struds On, brought to you by Action Electrical. Quick break. We'll come back. 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell Legacy without AC. Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
New Trust Alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new Cheddar Crust Pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping Cheddar Crust Pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry, though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Our average used RV sells for around 30 grand. Some are more, some are less. And literally no one has 30 G's just sitting in their checking account.
Monthly payments are the best way to get the used RV that's right for your family.
That's right, Bob. Financing should be a stress-free process. But let me tell you a little secret. My granddaughters think I'm a model citizen. When I was young once. And if you look back into my credit history, you can see that it wasn't always excellent.
Perfect credit is nice, but not easily achievable.
You said it, Bob. But less than perfect credit is not a good reason to keep you from the great outdoors this season. I built our financing plans for the real world. And in the real world, nobody has a perfect credit score. So let's talk about how easy it is to make your favorite used RV affordable. As long as you promise not to tell Saxon and Goldie that I'm not perfect.
And that's no bull.
NoBullRV.ca. Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Calling all cheddar lovers, try Papa John's new Cheddar Crust one-topping pizza for only $17.99. Order online at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app.
Tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4.50. Don't be scared of lead, boys and girls. Can hurt, but it can also be very fulfilling. So there you go. If you look at lots of things going on in the world of sports right now, you have August could be a contract renewal month for the Edmonton Oilers. Don't be surprised to see a few of those. I love the idea of thinking outside the box. And the McDavid one definitely, to me, is thinking outside the box. I got Gregor, the one-year deal is way more insurance. No, it isn't. So this coming year is the final year of his deal. He already has insurance on this year. Right, it's already been paid, doesn't change. Then he plays the year. Next summer, he can sign an extension because he has a 1-year deal that would kick in next year. Now it's after July 1st. Ta-da, you can sign an extension. So now he signs the extension. So he has a 1-year deal, but then he also has, after that, an extension. There's no change, people. Right? You're worrying about what ifs that don't really make much sense, to be honest. He's not playing on the 1-year deal before he signed an extension. Right? He's not. What's the risk? That he gets hurt this year? How many NHL players who have been extremely healthy for the first decade of their career suddenly had a career and an injury in year 11? Can you name the superstar player? Don't name Cam Neely because he had multiple injuries. Can't name Eric Lindros. He had multiple injuries. Right? He was missing 10, 15 games a year all the time. McDavid doesn't have that. Broke his collarbone crashing the boards as a rookie. And then at high speed, crashing in the net, he got hurt. Didn't miss any games because it was in the final game of the season. right? And came back and actually was really good that year. So doesn't have a history of injuries. So, hey, Gregor, you make it sound like he cares more about the money than he does winning. I don't think he thinks that. Brandon, what are you talking about, man? I'm saying the exact opposite. He's taking less money for the first year because it helps his team have more cap space. Then when the cap goes up $9 million, he goes up to $17 million instead of 16. So he gets the exact same amount of money, but he's giving his team a better chance to win the first year and the subsequent 3 years because the cap's higher. His cap percentage is actually lower. So you're not making any sense. You're not understanding what we're saying. He's taking less money for 1 year to give his team more cap space and then makes up for that with the exact same amount of money over the next 3 years or 4, which when the cap is even higher, so his cap percentage is actually lower. It's not bad at all. At all. Let's get to Connor Halley. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick as the final few days of the Brick Block Party. Price meltdown, $900 off of sofas and sectionals, $799 off of 60, or you can get a 65-inch Samsung TV for $799. Also, you can get a convertible fridge freezer starting at just $199 at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, as you know, the NFL and the Madden video game always release their 99 club. That includes Saquon, Lane Johnson, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen, Myles Garrett, and Lamar Jackson. If the NHL video game were to do this, who would you have in the 99 club?
Well, I think my son played. Doesn't McDavid have a 99? What's McDavid's
I would
rate?
assume so.
Right. Well, McDavid would be in 99 and McKinnon. Well, if it's based off of last year, then Draisaitl and Kucherov. So that'd be it.
Yeah. Looks like Declan says NHL is a little tougher. They gave McDavid a 97.
Okay, there.
I would have McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Makar, and I guess because he was the MVP, Connor Hellebuck. But that would be my.
How are you going to give that to Hellebuck? Don't you consider the playoffs junk? No
Well,
chance.
it's a video game.
It doesn't matter. But the video games are based on a lot of reality numbers. There's no way you can give Hellebuck a 99 when he's been like people get mad at Skinner's numbers. Skinner's numbers crush Hellebuck's numbers in the playoffs.
Well, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson aren't great playoff performers all the time either, but they both got 99. So
are they
it's a video
Hellebuck?
game.
Are they Hellebuck numbers in the playoffs?
No,
Not
they're
even
not.
close.
Well, I mean, Lamar was bad in the playoffs for the first couple of years. I have to go back and take a look at his most recent years.
Yeah, but I'm just talking. Look at Lamar Jackson right now, right? Because that's what his basic rating is on what you've done lately. It's not what you've done 5 years ago, right? The video game bases it on everything that happened in the previous season.
Usually, yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they give guys a little bit of legacy points, but yeah, I mean, hey, that's my list, not yours.
Yeah. All right.
Question number 2.
Lamar Jackson, by the way, in the playoffs last year, completed 74% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 429 yards. So
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, but didn't win it all. When it comes to evaluating hockey, what percentage for you is eye test and what percent would be analytics?
What percentage? Oh, that's a good question. I would say, well, considering the analytics guys tell me that there's still like 20% of the game that you can't even, that's just like luck. So I would almost put that into, I'm just going to go with skill. So I'm going to say analytics is going to take up 40% because they're saying I remember having the conversation with Volman and he felt that accurately at most you could get from analytics is 40. So I would say at best case scenario, then so I'd probably even go down to 35.
That's actually what I had as well. 65 eye test, 35 analytics. I like analytics, but I don't like to base too much on it. I'd like to trust my eye as well. So yeah, pretty similar there. Which Major League Baseball team do you think needs to make the additions the most ahead of the deadline tomorrow or 2 days?
It's a great question because right now there is no dominant team. There's lots of good teams, but there is no dominant team. in MLB, which I think is what's going to make the playoffs so riveting. You don't really know who is good. Like, hey, the Jays just gave up what? I don't even know how many runs, 40 runs in their last 3 games, like wild. So they need some help. You had the Tigers rolling and then they lost 12 of 13. The LA Dodgers are banged up significantly. So I guess I would look and say the team that probably needs it the most are the Dodgers because they've spent so much money. They're so much more pot committed than everybody else. So I guess I'm going to go with the Dodgers at the top.
Yeah, good one. I go with the Yankees. Obviously, they've fallen behind the Blue Jays. There's so much pressure in that market with that fan base to do well. I think they're always going to be considered buyers when it comes down to the trade deadline. And, this year they're right in it. So I think the Yankees would top the list for me. Question number 4 for you. We just discussed the New York Jets today. PlayAlberta.ca currently has their season win total at 5.5 games. Are you going to take the over or the under?
Go ahead.
For me, the New York Jets, if they're going to have success, they need to stay perfectly healthy. Like everyone's got to stay healthy and everything has to go well for them. I think immediately you're going to have 2 losses to the Bills, probably maybe another one in the division. I'm going to take them over, but just barely, like 6 wins, because I think Aaron Glenn's a really good coach. I think the defense still has traces of a really good group. And Justin Fields, I think, will give you a few good games. So I'll say they get 6 wins. They just get over.
What they got? Steelers, Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, Cowboys early on. I'm gonna say that I'm trying to count. How can they get 6 wins? Well, I don't think the Patriots are that good, to be honest.
Got the Saints,
the Dolphins. They could probably split with. Yeah, the Saints are terrible. The Browns are brutal. So, you know what? The Jags they could beat. And they'll have an upset. So I'm going to say the Jets, they go over 5.5 for sure.
All right. Question number 5 for you. I think this is every couple days, but they call this today National Chicken Wing Day. So I want to ask you, where do wings rank in your appetizer power rankings?
Oh, you're more of an appy guy, so you go ahead.
You know what? For me, they aren't that high. When it comes to appetizers, I go through phases where wings would be kind of top of the line, but price-wise, they're getting really expensive. So I probably have nachos above them every once in a while, matzo sticks, jalapeno poppers. Even sometimes you get fries just as little appies. So for me, they're top 5, but probably coming in around 5.
Well, if I'm going for appetizers, my number 1 is shrimp cocktail.
Okay.
No question. That's my favorite appetizer. Good ones. I'd eat them all the time. If I'm out at a nice restaurant, some of the nice restaurants don't even have appies. So appies, the only time chicken wings can be an appy is if I'm at a pub restaurant, right? So if I'm going out just to a decent restaurant, I don't even think they have chicken wings. Some might have chicken fingers. So I don't even know if I could put wings in my top 5 when I go out for dinner, because rarely do I go for dinner at a pub place anymore. So I don't even think they have wings. So calamari, I would have ahead of it for me. I would, I'm a big of there's these, what are they? Bacon wrapped dates. Oh my God. Those are unbelievable, Cons. I don't know if you've ever had them, but they are so good. I love oysters. So I'm putting oysters ahead of them. So yeah, they're not even in my top 5.
You got a lot of seafood in there.
Oh yeah, I love seafood for sure. Love seafood, like mussels, but mussels can be an appetizer, I guess, for sure, depending on where you're at. But yeah, no, I don't go to a lot of when I go to first round, I have boneless wings, and I love them. They're unbelievable. So I guess it depends where I'm at. If I'm at a pub place, then yeah, wings are probably top 2. But if I'm out for dinner, then they're not top 5.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's how I see the wings for me. So, but I have become more of a fan of the boneless wings. I'm not going to lie. I know they're basically saying, well, Gregor's like chicken nuggets. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it's at a restaurant. It's a little bit different. It's got a little Frank's Red Hot on it. So it's nice. It's just, it's easier to eat them, right? You want to take them, cut them up with my fork, cut them in half, boom, 2 chunks. Way better. If you've never had the boneless wings first round, that's a go-to for me. I love them. Love them. Take a quick break. We'll come back. We got Spec, Fajardo, and more in the final hour. The Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the comment and a sports 1440 update brought to you by the Red Deer Resort and Casino. Are you ready for glaciers instead of grocery lines? Enter at the slot cage by tomorrow for your chance to win a 7-day Alaska cruise with an additional $450 American allowance. Check it out, reddeerresortandcasino.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Toronto Blue Jays making a move today, acquiring pitcher Sir Anthony Dominguez and cash from the Orioles. Bergeron, Watts, Brown for multiple reports. Dominguez with a 3.24 ERA and 41 innings pitched this season. Jays in a doubleheader with the Orioles. They fell 16-4 earlier today. Right now in the bottom of the second, they lead 1-0. Elsewhere, Diamondbacks up on the Tigers 1-0 in the second, and the Guardians have a 2-0 lead over the Rockies. Later tonight, you got the Yankees taking on the Rays. Kansas City hosts the Braves. Cubs take on the Brewers. Phillies in Chicago for a meeting with the White Sox. Padres host the Mets. Mariners taking on the Athletics. The Riverhawks back in action tonight, taking on the Night Owls down at Remax Field. First pitch set for 7:05 in the WNBA. You've got 3 games this evening. Valkyries in Atlanta, the Mystics host the Sky, and the Aces taking on the Los Angeles Sparks. Bianca Andreescu is withdrawn from the National Bank Open after a round 1 win due to a left foot injury. And from the NFL, Buffalo Bills rookie cornerback Maxwell Harrison having tested to determine the severity of a right leg injury he suffered at practice today. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's the Bricks Price Meltdown. Score hot summer savings like up to 40% off mattresses and a 10% instant credit towards sleep accessories. Save up to $900 off sofas and sectionals and up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages. Plus, buy more, save more on select major kitchen appliances, up to $500 off. Even more, find hot prices on Canadian-made pieces and get up to 15% off patio furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The Discover Days sales event has been extended at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $7,500. Final month extended. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $4,000. Save up to $7,500 on a 2025 demo XC90.
Ooh, a little
Come and discover the
EJ
deal.
Elton
At
John
Volvo
for
Cars
you.
Edmonton.
Tuesday
Great
night.
vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust.
Welcome back.
pizza
The Gregor
for
Show,
only
as always.
$17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic.
Now,
and
don't be
herb
scared of
cheese
blood,
and
boys
cheddar
and girls.
cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
but it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember. It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.508 Tuesday afternoon. How are you as you make your way home? The Jays games, second half of the doubleheader, got spanked this morning, 16-4. And then they made a trade with the Orioles and get a reliever who pulls the old Doug Waite and just switches, Dominguez switches dressing rooms and is now a member of the Jays. And who knows? Maybe we'll see him come out of the bullpen tonight. I just think it would be a great theater, great story. If it indeed happens, Jays better start as they're up 1-0 early in the stored one run at the top of the second. Now the Orioles are threatening with 2 outs, but 2 runners on in the bottom of the second. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in for tonight's Lotto Max draw of $40 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water, indoor plumbing. They're the grinders of construction. GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Beautiful day, man. How can you not be good today?
It is. It's very good. Plus 25 out. It's sunny. It's going to be hot here for the next few days. We like it. You got MLB trade deadline going on. You got the Elks trying to get back on track. They didn't get some great news for day one. As they're arguably maybe their most consistent defensive tackler, rookie of the year last year, is banged up. Didn't practice today. Didn't finish last game. So we'll see if Nick Alexander's ready or not. But you look at the Major League Baseball trade deadline spec, and what's fascinating about it is there isn't a dominant team. There's no team playing even 600 ball right now.
Yep.
And which is hard to do, but still, like, that's winning percentage. It's not points percentage like the NHL. So you look at it, and there's lots of teams in the running. The Jays did acquire one reliever today, and he's got an electric arm. He can strike you out a lot. He can also walk a lot, but when he's on, he's pretty damn good, and he's got playoff experience, which is nice. The Jays, the Brewers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, like the Tigers, man, they're all involved here. This could be a crazy arms race in the next 48 hours.
Well, it's fun when there's no dominant team, because that means more teams look at themselves and go, hey, man, we got a shot. Like, we're in this thing. There's 6 teams or 7 that are looking at each other and saying, you know what, we could win. There's nobody out here that's vastly better than us. In the past years, I think the Dodgers have sort of made a lot of teams say, well, we're pretty good, but we're not as good as the Dodgers. I don't think that the Dodgers aren't near that good this year. So, Toronto's probably a good example, right? Here they are, one of at the very top of the Major League Baseball standings. Nobody saw it coming. Cubs are good. Brewers are good. Detroit's good. There's a bunch of Dodgers are good. Yankees aren't that far off. They can always pick it up with the right trade deadline. So it's fun. Like, the trade deadline is going to be fun, and the stretch run is going to be fun, Jay, because now it's not like there's just one team to watch. There's about 7 teams to watch here, and someone's going to have to play a wild card game that probably didn't think they were going to.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's very fair too, right? And it's never good. Spec, we had guys on earlier today from AFP Analytics, Kyle Snitch, and they specialize it. They break down all the numbers and looking at projection of players. And they had Pod Colson coming in around $2.4 million on his next deal if they wanted to extend him now. They had Ekholm, Wallman on a 5-year deal at 6.5, Ekholm on a 2-year deal at just over I think it was 6.5, maybe 6.4. I can't remember. Anyway, it's right in that. But and then McDavid was up at 16.4. And Brett Kulak was at 3.9, although we all admit it, I don't think they're going to re-sign Wallman, Kulak, and Ekholm. You don't need to pay that many, left. They need a right shot defenseman at some point. So they won't get all of them. But you look at any of those numbers, which one stands out, either pro or nay for you?
That's a fair question. I don't mind. I think probably you should be able to get Ekholm for a little less because, when you sign Pod Colson, he's on the way up and you feel like he's going to be better this year than last year and maybe better than next year than the year before that. I've got so much respect for Matthias Ekholm. Don't get me wrong, but he's on the downside of his career. So my point would be, I'm paying him. I don't think he's going to be as good the following year as he is in the first year of that deal. So, but I mean, we're splitting hairs. Like if you're playing, if I'm Matthias Ekholm and his agent, and you're telling me I'm going to play with Bouchard, which at this point I don't see how they're not, unless something changes. He's going to be a first pairing defenseman on this team. First pairing defenseman makes $6.5 million, pal. Like, don't tell me I'm going to pay you 3.5, but I'm going to use you 24 minutes a game. No. If you're using me that much, if you're playing with me with Bouchard, then you got to pay me commensurately, like the number 2 defenseman that you're using me as. So I don't mind any of those numbers. Frankly, I think those guys are generally right down the pipe, AFP, man. Every time I see a number they come up with, I have a hard time arguing with it. What do you think?
Yeah, they're pretty close. The one that they mentioned on McDavid at 16.4, and they said a 4-year deal, maybe even a 3-year deal, to match with Bouchard. I'm not sure but it got me thinking, Spec, that because if McDavid really wanted to, he could sign a 1-year extension at $14 million.
Okay.
Then next summer, he signs a 3 or 4-year deal at 17. Now, the reason why is because, A, there's really no risk and no insurance risk because he's already had insurance on his current contract that runs this year, right? He got that. And they've all the elite players. I talked to insurance, I talked to agents. They've got their career. Like some guys have their hands insured, legs. Like it's wild what you can insure if you want to, right? And so he does it. So on the slight chance that there's like this, career-threatening injury, which let's be honest, it's a very low chance. Just look at the game. It's a low chance.
When you're Connor McDavid, you get insurance. Because
and he has it anyway, right? Yeah. So, but he already has that for this final year of his deal anyway. So then next summer, before his 1-year deal kicks in, he can sign an extension for $3 or $4 million. And the reason I say that is because the 1-year deal would be at a cap hit of $104 million, then at $14 million. So that saves the team $2 million. So if you wanted the team to be more competitive for 1 year, he's not giving up any money because then he signs the extension higher than the 16 that people thought he'd get to go to 17 for 3 years. So he makes it up. But by then the cap's up to 113, maybe 118, maybe 120, whatever it is. And you're not hurting your team, but you're giving your team in maybe the, a final year of some guys getting older. If you think your window closes slightly, it's just a better deal. We haven't seen it very often. We see it tons in the NBA. Guys sign 1-year deals all the time. I know it's at way more money, so I understand it. But if we're looking at it theoretically, that's a way to give your team a better chance to win and really cost you nothing in the long term. If you were looking at a 4-year deal at 16, you do a 1 year at 14 and 3 year at 17. It's the exact same thing.
Okay. I mean, I hear you. And I want to say, well, there's 2 things for me. The NBA is where a lot of the trends begin and come from. All the agents work in not all of them, most of them work in agencies where They have colleagues that are NBA guys, like Octagon's got NBA guys, NFL guys, NHL guys. So they're all talking. They're all working together here, right? So if the NBA is doing it and it works there, it's frankly an eventuality to me before something smart from the NBA or NFL finds its way into hockey. Now, I would ask you, is there an NHL player who's ever done that before? Is there a pre-existing example here, Jason?
Definitely not an elite level. I can't think of guys signing one-year deals, no. But just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean it isn't smart. That's why they're called inventions, Spec, because no one's done it before.
That's why they're called inventions. I like that. Yeah, you know what? I don't see a lot of, I mean, the only hole in the thing is, if McDavid, something horrible happens and he doesn't get to play anymore, which is, I don't even want to talk about that because it's bad luck. But insurance covers that, right? Insurance covers that. He's got lots of money. He can afford his insurance, all of that stuff. So, you know what? It's interesting.
If that happens when he had signed a 3-year deal and it happened in the first year, well, that doesn't change anything, right? It just means now he's on LTIR. That's the only difference.
I know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But, I mean, the only thing I would say to you is that guys, I guess I know that there's certainly, like, if I'm, the example would be a guy like Vinny Desharnais, who grabbed that 2-year, $4 million deal as fast as he could because he hasn't earned much and he wanted to get some security and make some money. And I'd have signed it if I was him in a heartbeat in Vancouver. McDavid.
What if I told you that Vinny Desharnais had turned down a 4-year deal for $2 million during the season earlier
by the Oilers?
Yes.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, that I can tell you that's for certain indeed occurred.
Yeah. Well, then he probably should have taken it.
Got some bad agent advice, right?
Well, it's bad. I mean, yes, it's always 50-50 for me. In today's world, in the end, the agent works for the player and the player tells the agent what to do. So yes, the agent advises you, and yes, the agent is supposed to be all over the market and his advice is supposed to be sound. But in the end, the player is the one who says, I want it or I don't want it. And so it's 50-50, but sure. I don't know. It's interesting. Does McDavid, do the Oilers want to have are you signing almost 2 contracts at the same time under this scenario, Jason? Or do the Oilers fear, are the Oilers saying, boy, I'd sure love to get this guy in a contract for 4 or 5 more years just because of all the, the myriad of reasons it's good to have Connor McDavid under contract.
Yeah, well, it's very true. It just comes down to a lot of, there has to be trust in the organization. And I think there is, my understanding is there's lots of trust. His former agents, the CEO of the organization. I think that was done for a variety of reasons of knowing that Connor, knows him, trusts him, all of that. So
right.
To me, this is just smart business. If you wanted that's totally legal, that if you wanted to look at it, you could do it. It's happened in other leagues. It has not happened in the NHL, but that doesn't mean it's a wrong idea or a bad idea. And it doesn't mean that, because I know we get texts, well, Gregor, what if he leaves? Well, what if he decides after 1 year he wants to trade and asks for a trade? What the hell's the difference? Right? I would want to be secure enough as an organization to say, we're doing this on a 1-year trial because it benefits the team. We're going to make the player, it works out both ways. You kind of got a handshake agreement in a way, and you can do it, right? There's nothing illegal about it. There's nothing, right? This is not even cap circumvention whatsoever, because there's nothing, because right now, if you sign a 1-year extension, the deal is you can't sign for 1 year. You can't sign your extension until after January, right? Because basically they say you can't sign a deal on July 1st for 1 year, and then on September 30th sign a 1-year extension, right? Or 4-year extension. They don't allow that. They have it, so it's January. So it's not until the next calendar year. So
that's fine.
There's nothing in here that's illegal at all.
I mean, in the end, Jay, I don't really care how it shakes down. I'm not overly. I would never instruct Connor McDavid on how he should handle that version of his affairs. I mean, that's just not what I'm doing. In the end, you want Connor McDavid on your team for as long as possible. And if it turns out that you make one of these deals and that works for everybody, okay. I guess what I'm trying to say is Connor McDavid makes this decision. this is a rare negotiation where the McDavid camp with Ace and Judd Moldaver, they tell you how it's going to go. McDavid names his price. He names his term. No one's trying to negotiate Connor McDavid down. I just don't see it. He's not a normal player. He's the best player in the world, and you'll pay anything to have him on your team. So if Judd Moldaver thinks this is a good idea, it might happen. If he doesn't, it will never happen.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, do I think it's going to happen, Spec? I don't. It's an interesting one to look at. And I do, as we're speaking, I do have to look up the CBA to wonder if that January extension can't be done until the after January of the final year, which would mean instead of signing in July of next summer, he would sign in January of the following year, which would freak out people. So maybe they don't want to do it. But that's where it comes down to some trust factor on both sides, right? So we'll see.
Well, I think I would say to you that they have a trust factor. This, McDavid's it's the only team he's ever played for. They have not won a Stanley Cup, but they're absolutely, I'll say this for sure, Connor McDavid and his camp cannot look at the Oilers and say, you've not given me a chance to win a cup here, right? He can't say that, and he would never say that. They've been to 2 cups in a row. So it seems pretty, his best buddy whose wedding he's going to, I'd likely be the best man. Is coming up here. He just signed an 8-year deal. I don't have a lot of angst about Connor McDavid signing here. I love this conversation. It's a cool, interesting, deal we're talking about here. But I don't have a lot of fear or angst about whether or not Connor McDavid's going to suit up for the Edmonton Oilers 12 months from October.
No, I don't see it being an issue at all. I could see an extension done before the end of August. I've been saying that for a year, so I'm not going to switch off of that. Right. You mentioned Ekholm, Spec. Do you have any concerns at all about Ekholm's? He didn't have a great regular season. Obviously, that I don't put much stock into the Cup finally being hurt. Probably rushed back a little bit too early, but he's 35 years of age. He's a big guy. He's never been the most fleet of foot. Have any concern about signing him to a 2-year extension that would kick in when he's 36?
Well, yeah. I'm going to, in a short word, yes. I've always loved the player. Like when he was in Nashville, I can recall him watching him play and thinking, oh man, what a good player. He's come to Edmonton. What a good player. What a leader. There's nothing wrong with that player except for the age in his birth certificate. Right? That is the only negative for me on that player. I guess I wonder why it has to happen a year ahead of time. I would be concerned if, listen, we've both covered sports a long time, Jason. Old players who start getting hurt, sometimes they just continuously get hurt all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Right? They're like it's like that 2002 Tercel you're driving around that you fix the starter and the alternator goes, and you fix the alternator and the carburetor goes, and you fix that and the brakes are done. I've seen it with other players. I'm not telling you that's Mattias Ekholm, but I would be disappointed if I jumped the gun by a year and signed him like tomorrow, and then he had another year next season like he had last season, because then I'm quite worried that I've got 2 more years of a guy who's just going to be hurt all the time. He plays hard. He's the most honest player you're ever going to meet, but injuries, what do they say, man? Father Time is undefeated. So has Father Time, was that just a bad year for Mattias Ekholm last year? Or is it the start of a trend? I don't know the answer to that, but I want to keep my powder dry a little bit longer and maybe have an idea on the answer to that before I sign that player.
Yeah, it's fair. And so that's why I wonder, would you wait and, re-sign him halfway through the year, right? Is there a rush on Ekholm to do it? Like that's the one guy I wouldn't rush in on at all, right? Like he turns 36 next May. So
no need to rush. No need to rush. And here's a sad part about the business that is sports, Jason. We know this absolutely for sure about Mattias Ekholm. He and his wife and his family love it in Edmonton. They love playing here. They love living here, right? And they make our city a better place, man. I'm here to tell you. So we're not worried that Mattias Ekholm is out there hunting a better, richer deal by $800,000 somewhere else. So what's our hurry? Why are we signing him today? What's the hurry here?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. 100%. Spec, as always, good to talk to you, buddy. We will chat tomorrow. Have a great day.
All right, man.
It's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Quick break, and we'll return and talk about the other team in town, the Green and Gold, and the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman.
You listen to Jason Gregor Show.
How you doing, Jason? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, man. It's good. I guess, first of all, how was it going back to the place where your career started? I think that was your first start in Saskatchewan. And
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Edmonton Elks, salute to service.
You get under center, you get to be the starter. Obviously, as a competitor, that's what we want. You guys, your offense through 45 minutes, didn't finish, didn't score a lot, had only 4 points. What? And then in the fourth quarter, though, you made a heck of a comeback too. Really good drive, scored 14 points, got right in it. What was the difference in the fourth quarter that you didn't see specifically in quarters 2 and 3?
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes, extra prices exclude delivery.
City 3x3 Festival takes over the Ice Palace at West Edmonton Mall from July 31st to August 3rd. See professionals and Olympians battle for ranking points and cash prizes in 3 different FIBA 3x3 events. Free admission. Details at sports1440.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends.
Make sure to swing by Nisku Ford in July to take advantage of rates as low as 0%. Or choose rebates as high as $6,000 on 2025 models.
The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
I love the colorful.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
For 5:30 here on a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, The Gregor Show, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where if you do gamble, make sure you use your GameSense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca to learn how to ensure you stay within your limits at PlayAlberta.ca. The Elks back on the practice field today. No Nick Alexander, which is obviously not great. Mathis still, you saw him take that shot in his back. He wasn't practicing. Smith was in limited reps on the D line, so getting closer. Who knows if he'll be ready? But obviously, not having Nick number 48 in would be a big blow. If now they didn't finish last game with him, so it's not like they haven't played with him. But he's a pretty important player for them. And we do know for sure that Cody Fajardo will be the starting quarterback. And caught up with Cody and asked him, first of all, you know what? The first 45 minutes for the offense was not great. They only had 4 points. Then they found their stride in the fourth quarter, scored 2 touchdowns, had 2 long drives. What changed in the fourth quarter, and how can they bring that into the first quarter against Hamilton?
Well, speaking to myself, I think in the first half, I was still trying to get my sea legs back underneath me. Last time I played meaningful football was, the East Final last year. So I felt like I was a lot of emotions running through me, pretty amped up. There's a few things I wish I would have done differently. I thought we moved the ball really well in the game. I thought our time of possession was much improved, but we didn't finish in the end zone. We had a field goal that we were first and goal from the 6-yard line and had a procedure penalty that kind of kicked us back. And I ended up scrambling and throwing it away, and we kicked a field goal. I think, scoring a touchdown there is a little bit different of an outlook, especially with the way our defense was playing. Held them to 1 point, and going up 8-1 there instead of 4-1, maybe a little bit different story. And then at the end of the half, we had about 30 seconds left. We were driving down the field, and we got an unfortunate holding penalty, which that happens from time to time. But when you have 30 seconds on the clock, it's just tough to overcome the penalty like that. So I thought overall in the first half, we were moving the ball really well. We just didn't finish with any points. And then in the second half, our third quarter was atrocious. That starts with me. We had the best field position of the day around midfield, and we went 2 and out. And something I wish I would have had back, a play I wish I would have had back. And then the fourth quarter, I think the biggest thing that kind of shifted in that fourth quarter was we really got comfortable with each other. It was something where leading up throughout the week, splitting reps with Trey and not having much reps with the starting offense. I think we kind of hit a little bit of a groove. And what I told the guys after the game was the team that we were, the offense that we were in that fourth quarter is who we need to roll this over into the next game against Hamilton, because that was an electrifying offense. That was a team that moved the ball, that finished in the end zone, that made plays when the ball went their way. So a lot of positives to take away, but unfortunately, no win in the win column.
Cody Fajardo joins us. And, Cody, the one thing I went through all the plays, and 20 times you guys were in second down. 15 of them was second and long. Right? First down, other than that one series where you had 3 consecutive first downs on big plays, you guys put yourself in just, we all know the stats on it. It's harder when you're 2nd and 7 or longer than it is if it's 2nd and 2 or 3, right? Like there's more for the defense can pin their ears back. You're a little bit more predictable. How do you become more effective and more efficient, do you think, on first down?
Yeah, most importantly, I think we just got to get the run game going. I think our running backs had 5 carries. Now, the game got a little bit away from us heading into that fourth quarter. And it made it really difficult on our offensive line. There was 2 big factors. One, we were down multiple possessions going into the fourth, and we had to drop back and throw it. And their D-line is very talented, and they knew we had to throw it. 2, we were operating in a pretty chaotic atmosphere, so snap count is a little bit harder to hear sometimes, and just kind of gives a little bit more advantage to the defense. But with that being said, I think first down efficiency has kind of been our Achilles heel all year, where we found ourselves in too many dang second and longs. And second and longs in a 3-down league, you usually convert around a 20% clip, which is not very good. And even the higher end of the teams are converting at like 30%. So it's not very positive numbers when you look at second and long, but when you look at second and medium or second and short, those are 60 to 80% conversion rates. So to your question there, we have to find ways to manipulate meaningful downs and meaningful yards early on. Even if we catch a ball out in the flat and get tackled for a 3-yard gain, a 2nd and 7 is a whole lot better than a 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 9. So every yard matters in this league, and I've learned that over the years of playing quarterback in this league, that there's no such thing as a bad yard. If you gain 1 yard, it's a whole lot better than gaining no yard.
Cody, you'd mentioned after the game that you felt, you thought your O-line played okay. There was 8 sacks, and you felt like there was some decisions by you that led to some of them. And I think that's probably valid. I do think of some other ones that had nothing to do with you, and they just got beat by their guys, which will happen in football. But specific to your decisions, go into it. What were you talking about where you felt like you didn't help your O-line, and that's what led to the sack?
Yeah, we were down in the red zone on a procedure penalty, actually. And we had an RPO where I'm reading the linebacker. If the linebacker plays run, I pull up and throw. If the linebacker plays pass, I hand the ball off. The linebacker came up, play run. They covered it down really well. They had good coverage, so I unfortunately had to hold on the ball a little bit longer. It leads to a sack. They decline the penalty. That goes on the books. Right in the third quarter, we went RPO again. This time I'm reading the defensive end. We're 2nd and 6, I believe, 2nd and 5. Defensive end, he just got me. He came down hard, thought I could pull it and get around the edge. He maneuvered really well. They got athletic defensive ends. I pull it. I try and pull up because he's in my face to throw the ball, take another sack. That's another one that's on me. End of the game, I'm trying to get something downfield, so I'm holding on the ball a little bit longer than normal, than just like 3 in a hitch, get the ball out of my hands. Trying to let the guys get down the field, knowing that we got to get in the field goal range with not a lot of time on the clock, and took back-to-back sacks there. So off the top of my head, like there's 4 sacks right there that could be off the board if I just am smarter with the ball, whether it be throwing it away or trying to run for a couple of yards here, or in that one instance in the third quarter, handing the ball off to our running back. So it's a unit thing. Sacks is a unit thing. Everybody wants to talk about the offensive line and sacks. It's on the O-line, quarterback, running back. It's a 3-phase kind of thing when it goes to sacks, and the poor offensive linemen get all the blame. But like I said after the interview and after watching the film, our offensive linemen are going to get beat because there's really good defensive linemen in this league. But all 8 sacks are not on them, and I take a lot of that onus on me, and I take a lot of that on me. And I told them I got to be better, and I feel like I'll be better going into this next game, just feeling that game atmosphere and getting back to bullets flying again. I got to be better for them so that we don't get in those situations.
Cody, you mentioned just getting together and continuity as a group, and the coach came out. I think it's smart now that you don't want to be flip-flopping quarterbacks every week. I don't think that's healthy for either quarterback to do it. So you're the guy to go in, and obviously Trey Stills works with you just like you worked with him when he was the starter. What could be the biggest advantage for you this week in practice that can lead to more continuity and more productive plays offensively when it's 2 weeks in a row for you as a starter?
I think it's the reps that I take. We go into a game with about somewhere around 80 to 100 plays, and throughout the course of the week, you try to rep every play one time. The unfortunate thing when you split reps is there was some plays that Trey got a live rep at, and I just kind of had to watch from the back. And there were some plays I got a live rep at, Trey had to watch from the back. And so when you go out into a game and it's the first time you're running a play with live bullets and guys haven't caught that specific route from you, they don't really know how you throw it in terms of timing wise or where you're going to throw them to the area on the field. So I think a full week of practice with the guys is going to be huge. Also, when it's kind of a little bit more of that, competition back and forth thing, I wasn't as vocal as I usually am when it comes to a game week. If I do know I'm the guy, just talking through things with receivers and running back, offensive line, and just here's what I see here, here's what I expect here. So going into a week like this and knowing that I'll be able to take those reps, I'll be way more vocal because I don't want to step on toes and say, hey, I like it this way. And then Trey's the starter, and then all of a sudden he sees it a different way, right? So I think that communication aspect will help us tremendously as well. And just getting the reps with the guys. And the more reps we get together as a unit, I think the better we're going to be.
Cody, you've been in the league, and it's hard for young quarterbacks. And while Trey's been in the league for a few years, he didn't have a ton of starts. He basically has just a season and a bit of starts under his belt, and learning the game. And man, the league is littered. Like Ricky Ray is the ultimate outlier, right? Most guys, like Anthony Calvillo, many consider one of the best. Go look at his first 5 years in the league. It's nothing to be riveted about if you're just looking at statistics and results. Like, it's a hard position. How do you balance, wanting, to help yourself and the team win, but also helping Trey understand the nuances of the quarterback position?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, honestly, for me, I'm just going to play the game that I know how to play it. And even though it might be a little bit different than how Trey plays the game, I think there's a few things that he might like and take from my game and implement into his game. Look, I got to spend 3 years with Ricky in Toronto, and I learned a lot from him. And we're two completely different quarterbacks, especially at the time when I was coming out of college and I was running majority of the time instead of a pocket passer. But there's a lot of things I watched in his game that I was able to implement in my game, and also just how he prepares for weeks as a professional quarterback and how he watches film and just how he talks to the team and how he presents himself to the media. Like, there was a ton of things that I just learned, even though our game wasn't very similar. I was able to learn from him. And so talking with Trey, and that was kind of the biggest advice I gave him, was like, look, man, just kind of watch what I do and question anything I do, and I'll kind of hopefully have an answer for you. And hopefully you can take a couple things so that when your opportunity does come again, you're ready, and you're just a different quarterback and a better quarterback in the sense of the whole surrounding of being a quarterback. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to watch somebody. Now, he was around a guy like McLeod, who is another guy who's a true professional in the way that he carries himself. But sometimes you just click a little bit different with different quarterbacks. And I think Trey and I have a great relationship, and we have a very open and honest relationship where we're able to ask each other questions and tough questions. And we take each other's feedback very close to the heart. And so I'm just trying to do whatever I can to help him become the best quarterback that he can be, while I'm trying to get myself back into that starter mentality.
Yeah. And that's, it's a unique situation, but, obviously you want to have success, no doubt, as a team. I'm looking ahead to Hamilton, and, just how many points, like Bo Levi Mitchell's playing great right now. He had a great year last year. He's having another good season this year. Like, they're putting up a lot of points. Now, anything's possible, and maybe your defense stymies them. But when you look at it, say, hey, our offense is going to need to be more productive if we want to win this week. Is that a good mindset to have? Is it too much pressure? How do you approach it that way when you know the other team's offense is rolling?
It's a very good question, because I think sometimes teams and specifically players and the media especially, they get caught up in statistics. And in my opinion, and what I know about the CFL, is every game's its own entity. And it's, what does that game need in the moment to win? Now, looking at statistics, you would say, okay, their offense is playing at a high level. We're going to have to score a lot of points. Maybe we get in the game, our defense is playing extremely well. We have to play smart on offense, no turnovers, and try and get mustered up as many points as we can, stay on the field, or maybe a shootout, right? So I think you don't understand until you really get into that game, and you have to realize what that specific game needs. Every game you want to go in and try and score 50 points. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But every game you feel good about the game plan. You feel good about what you've put in work week wise. And then you kind of let the bullets fly when it comes game time. But I think that's what I've learned most about winning in this league, is every win is unique in its own way. It's not like it's the same recipe for each and every game, as every opponent's different. Every situation's different. We're just trying to get back to an identity, I think, on offense. And one of our best assets is running the football, and I think that's where we have to be better. We talked about the second down thing, but that's where we just have to be better, because I think we have great running backs, and we have an offensive line that is a lot of carryover from last year, and that last year's offensive line led the league in rushing yards per game. So we got to find a way to get a little bit more production there, and then hopefully that will help out the pass game and be able to move the ball down the field and take our shots when given the opportunity.
Cody Fajardo, quarterback of the Green and Gold, joins us. Cody, what about, you mentioned, you getting yourself back into kind of the rhythm of being the starter, but also continuity with your receivers. It's such a key thing. You want to get on the same page, which depth a certain guy runs, how to put it, this guy might got to throw a little bit more zip on it. This guy, maybe it's a little bit to take off more. How long does it take to really get on the same page with their receivers and their tendencies, and more so their speed on certain routes?
Yeah, I would assume a full work week would be plenty for me with those reps of the game plan and what you expect. Because like I said, when you get into a game and you're like, man, I haven't taken a full speed rep with any of these guys on this given play, you're kind of shooting blind there. So I think it's just a week of good work, and that's usually a thing that's changed. I've seen it around the league. You see a guy come in off the bench for a quarterback that got injured or got benched. They didn't play very well, and then the next week they get all the reps, and then they play much better. So I think that just is a testament to getting more reps with the guys and being able to rep those out. So I don't think it's very long. I think it's a full week of work. Putting on the stuff in terms of the pass game, I thought we did some really nice things in the pass game. I thought our receivers made some tremendous plays when the ball was in the air, and a lot of contested catches, some catches downfield and made guys miss. So I think we have something, like I said, at the end of that game, we have something to build off of. But when we're in such a outcome-driven sport, which professional sports is so outcome-driven, sometimes you just hang your head because you didn't win the football game, and you got to try to find the bright spots that can carry you over and create some momentum before it's too little too late. And so my message basically to the guys was, look, a third of the season's over. There's nothing we can do about that. The past is the past. We have 2/3 of our season ahead of us. Let's take it 1 week at a time, one win at a time, and see where we're at by the end of this thing, and give ourselves a chance to make a run late.
Would I put money on him being a coach when his playing career is over? I would. Has a very good understanding of the game, just how he speaks about the game. I would be very, very surprised if he wasn't a coach. If he wants to be, but he just everything points to him being a coach, Con. So he's got the personality for it, and obviously has the understanding for it.
Yeah, good temperament, been around the game for a long time, especially at the CFL level. I would think he can probably waltz into a coaching staff right after.
What do you think about the Elks against the Tiger Cats? The Tabbies are no joke, man. They are good right now. What do you make of the Elks and their opportunity here on Saturday at 1 p.m.? They host Hamilton, who is 5-2 and looking pretty good right now.
Loving the start time, first and foremost. You know what? I'm intrigued to see if they can build off what they had against the Rough Riders. Obviously, the offense came together late in the game, and maybe you can use that as a takeaway if you want to. But I think it is just building from those types of situations. Bo Levi Mitchell has been slinging the football this season, and he's making some outstanding plays. So you got to make sure you get to him. And I think that's where the onus has to be this week in practice. We got to generate a pass rush because they haven't done that this season. That's going to lead to a lot of things. Could lead to interceptions. Could lead to turnovers through forced fumbles of that nature, things like that. So I think they're probably in a tough spot. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be the favorite going into this one. Probably not. But you just got to hope that they can build off last week's game.
And the interesting thing is, because they're 2 games in hand on BC, if they win both of them, they're tied with the Lions for 4th, which would be the crossover. Now, the Argos coming off a big win themselves, but they're 2-5. Like, it's crazy because of the crossover that you're not completely out of it just yet, despite an incredibly slow start by the green and gold. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about one of the great sporting hacks for if you are a diehard sports fan who wants to get as close to the action as possible. We'll tell you about. I didn't even know was even an option until I found out last Thursday when I was at a golf tournament and was speaking with our guest, or now going to be our guest afterwards, and just told me what she had done this past year, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know that was an option. So I think if you are a fan who just wants to get as close to the action as you can, here's and the best part about it is it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Like, usually you want to get really close to the action, it's costing you a lot of money. Not this one. So this is something that literally any one of you could do if you so choose. So that's what's intriguing about that. The Jays, we will find out. Hey, maybe they'll make another deal. We'll see if they get a win. Trying to split the double dip today with Baltimore. Lost the first one. Connor Halley will give you an update on where they're at in the second game. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a lovely Tuesday evening. Let's get to Sports 1440 update brought to you by eWell, your partner in power. If you need any electrical gear, there's only one place to go, ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Toronto Blue Jays making a trade today, acquiring pitcher Sir Anthony Dominguez and cash from the Orioles for Jerron Watts-Brown. Dominguez has a 3.24 ERA and 41 innings pitched this season. The Jays, of course, in action right now, taking on the Baltimore Orioles in Game 2 of their doubleheader. Right now, tied at 2 apiece, heading into the bottom of the 5th. Earlier today, Orioles beating up on the Blue Jays 16-4. Elsewhere around the majors, Dodgers lead the Reds 2-0. Rays up on the Yankees 3-0. The Rockies in Cleveland trailing the Guardians 7-1. Diamondbacks have a 2-0 lead over the Tigers in the bottom of the 4th. Bunch of games underway right now, all scoreless. Twins, Red Sox, Cubs, Brewers, White Sox, Phillies, and the Marlins, Cards. Later on tonight, Astros host the Nationals. Rangers take on the Angels. Padres up against the Mets. Pirates travel to San Fran. And the Athletics taking on the Mariners. In town, you got the Edmonton Riverhawks back in action down at Remax Field, taking on the Night Owls. First pitch set for 7:05. In the WNBA, 2 games underway already. You've got the Valkyries up on the Dream 15-14 in the first. Also in the first, the Mystics trail the Sky 26-25. Bianca Andreescu is withdrawn from the National Bank Open after suffering a foot injury. It's been a frustrating season for the former U.S. Open winner who missed the first 3 months of the season with injury, also time off with appendicitis. And Buffalo Bills rookie quarterback Maxwell Harrison having tested to determine the severity of a right leg injury he suffered at practice today. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, Fox Sports Radio. Got the Kevin Carrier Show live local coverage tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. right here on Sports 1440. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. A Stingray